Chapter 323. Qin Haodong walked to the dead man and put his hand on the pulse. As he had expected, the man was in a state of suspended animation and was not really dead. Gao Fengwen also came over. First, he opened the dead man's eyelids and found that his pupils were dilated. Then, he put his hand on his chest to feel the man's heartbeat. There was no breath. Then, he felt the pulse, but there was no response at all. He looked up at Qin Haodong and whispered, "President, this man is really dead." From the bottom of his heart, he also felt that Qin Haodong was a little reckless. He should not have easily agreed to the woman's request. 10 million yuan was not a small number. The female doctor looked at Qin Haodong with a smile and said, "What do you think? You didn't believe my diagnosis, did you? Why did you have to see it yourself? What did you find?" Hearing Gao Fengwen say that her man was dead, the yellow-haired woman's eyes flashed with imperceptible pride. She shouted to Qin Haodong, "What do you think? What else do you have to say? Hurry up and pay me." Qin Haodong smiled and said calmly, "You're all wrong. This man is not dead." The yellow-haired woman cried, "Why are you like this? He said he's dead, but you just want to deny it." Qin Haodong said, "What's the hurry? If I can't make him stand up in 10 minutes, I'll transfer 10 million yuan to your account immediately." The female doctor looked at Qin Haodong with even more disdain. If Gao Fengwen and the others were not present, she would have thought that Qin Haodong was out to make trouble. It was obvious that this man was dead. How could he stand up? Did he really think that he could bring the dead back to life? Looking at Qin Haodong's confident look, Gao Fengwen asked doubtfully, "President, what's going on? Why didn't I see any flaws?" Qin Haodong said, "Have you heard of the immortal grass?" The immortal grass? As soon as he said that, Shen Xiangfu, Zhong Sihai, and several experienced Chinese medicine doctors next to him changed their expressions. Although they had never seen the immortal grass, they had seen it in ancient books. It was said that after eating the immortal grass, one could be in a state of suspended animation for 3 days. He looked like a dead person, but he would return to normal after 3 days. Gao Fengwen asked, "President, do you mean that this man took the immortal grass?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "It's not the grass of immortality, but a medicine similar to it." After listening to Qin Haodong, the yellow-haired woman's expression changed slightly, but she still held up her mobile phone and shouted, "As you can see, 2 minutes have passed. There are 8 minutes left." Gao Fengwen said nervously, "President, time is running out. Can we make it?" Qin Haodong said calmly, "More than enough." As he spoke, he took out a bag of needles from his pocket. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 silver needles were inserted into the man's chest. "So fast, who is this young man? Why does it look like a magic trick? Don't you know him? This is the most famous medical sage in Jiangnan, Dr. Qin Haodong. What is this young doctor doing? Can it really bring the dead back to life?" Qin Haodong ignored the comments around him. 5 minutes later, he took back all the silver needles. The dead man was lying on the ground with a layer of black qi covering his face. He still looked the same. Did he fail? There seems to be no reaction. It should be so. Many doctors said that this man was dead. How could he come back to life? It seems that even the medical sage can't do it. No one can bring the dead back to life. The female doctor's mouth was full of disdain. Does he really think he's a magic doctor? Can he bring the dead back to life? The yellow-haired woman was a little nervous at first, but then she shouted arrogantly, "There is only 1 minute left. Get ready to take the money." Looking at her expression, she did not look sad at all, like a family member of the dead. Qin Haodong sneered and said, "Don't worry, there is one last procedure." As he spoke, he raised his hand and patted the middle-aged man's chest. The man suddenly sat up from the ground, opened his mouth, and spat out a mouthful of pink liquid. Oh my God, this man really came back to life. The dead came back to life. The medical sage is really the medical sage. He can actually bring the dead back to life. I've really opened my eyes. He can even bring the dead back to life. This medical skill is amazing. Seeing the man sitting up from the ground, Gao Fengwen and the others all breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Qin Haodong with admiration in their eyes. If this man had really died, it would definitely have a bad impact on the reputation of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. At the same time, it would be very troublesome. Zhou Jingping might also be sued. The female doctor was stunned and speechless. She had been a doctor for almost 20 years. She did not expect to encounter such a magical thing. It was obvious that this man was dead. How could he come back to life? The yellow-haired woman stood there like a statue with a timer in her hand. She did not expect that Qin Haodong would really wake up her man in 10 minutes. Qin Haodong looked at the pool of yellow water and frowned slightly. He looked thoughtful. The only one who did not know what was going on was the middle-aged man who had just woken up. He opened his eyes and saw the yellow-haired woman in front of him. He immediately shouted, "Honey, did you get the money?" As soon as he said this, the people around him immediately laughed. Now even a fool could see that these two people had used a special method to cheat money here. Hearing the laughter around him, the middle-aged man came to his senses. After looking around, he pretended to say, "Honey, what happened to me just now? Why did I suddenly faint?" The yellow-haired woman was also like a drama queen. She cooperated and said, "Yes, honey, you suddenly fainted just now. It's good that you're fine now. Let's go home quickly." Then she pulled the middle-aged man up and was about to leave, but they were blocked by Qin Haodong and the people of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. Qin Haodong said coldly, "Are you going to leave just like that?" The yellow-haired woman said, "Since my man is fine, I won't ask you for money. Are you still not going to let us go?" Zhou Jingping shouted angrily, "You say you want money, and you say you don't want money, and you say you don't want money. What do you think our Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association is? How can there be such a good thing?" He was really angry. It was obvious that these two guys had come to blackmail him. If Qin Haodong had not happened to see through it, he might have been sued. The people around also shouted, "Liars, the police arrest them." This kind of blackmailer is the most annoying. They should be put in prison and never released. Just now they opened their mouths and asked for 10 million yuan. Now they want to leave after being seen through. How can there be such a good thing? They must pay the price. Qin Haodong looked at the two and said, "Tell me, what the hell is going on? This accident, it's all an accident." The yellow-haired woman said embarrassedly, "My husband had a heart attack before. I don't know why it happened just now, but now he's all right." "It's all right." The middle-aged man also said, "Yes, I don't know why I suddenly had a heart attack just now, and then I fainted." Anyone could see that it was a lie. Qin Haodong didn't want to talk nonsense with them, so he directly used mind bewitching. "Be honest, what the hell is going on? Who asked you to come?" A trace of confusion flashed in the yellow-haired woman's eyes, and then she said, "A man asked us to come here. He gave us 20,000 yuan and asked us to come here to blackmail." The onlookers immediately became restless. They didn't expect that the woman would tell the truth so easily. Nalan Wuxia was very clear about Qin Haodong's ability to interrogate, so she asked a young policeman to take out a notebook to record. Sure enough, there was someone behind this matter. Qin Haodong asked again, "Who is that middle-aged man? Do you have his contact information?" The yellow-haired woman said, "We don't know that man. He was wearing a mask and sunglasses, so we couldn't see what he looked like. The two of us were originally blackmailer. 2 hours ago, the man suddenly found us and gave us a bottle of potion. He said that drinking this potion was no different from a dead person, and that you would wake up after 12 hours. He asked us to come here to blackmail. He gave us 20,000 yuan as a reward, and he didn't want a cent of the money he extorted from here. At that time, we were obsessed with money, so we agreed. Qin Haodong said, "Aren't you afraid that this is poison and you will die completely after drinking it?" The middle-aged man said, "Of course I'm afraid. I just want to make some money. I don't really want to die." The man was also afraid that we wouldn't believe him, so he asked us to take a little bit and feed it to our dog. The dog immediately became like a dead dog after drinking it, but half an hour later, it was alive again. That's why we believed him and came here to pretend to be dead to cheat money. Qin Haodong asked a few more questions, but the two blackmailers only knew so much, so he couldn't get any more information. He turned to Nalan Wuxia and said, "I'll leave these two people to you. Check again and see if you can find any useful clues." What he wanted to know most now was who was behind this. Nalan Wuxia nodded and waved to the young policeman behind her, "Take them away." The two policemen handcuffed the first two blackmailers and took them to the police car. There was an immediate burst of applause from the crowd. These two bastards asked for 10 million yuan as soon as they opened their mouths. I guess they will spend the rest of their lives in prison. What's wrong with them? They have to blackmail. This kind of person is the most wicked. The matter had been handled here. Qin Haodong turned to the doctors of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association and said, "It's all right now. Let's continue the free clinic." After receiving his order, the doctors immediately returned to their posts, but the patients did not disperse. They surrounded Qin Haodong and shouted, "Long live the medical sage! Good job, medical sage! Medical sage, we love you! A benevolent doctor can bring the dead back to life. He deserves to be our medical sage of Huaxiao." Wang Deshang and Che Xiaoxiao were mixed in the crowd. At first, he was smiling and watching with relish. Later, when he saw Qin Haodong turn the situation around in an instant, his face suddenly darkened. At this time, when he heard the cheers of the people, his face became more and more gloomy. He didn't expect that his plan not only failed to bring down Qin Haodong and the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association, but also created the reputation of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. When he returned to the Huaxia Hall of Medical Fame, he found that some patients had also run to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. Only the Chinese medicine practitioners he had recruited were there. Everyone was sitting in front of the consultation table, but there was no patient in front of them. "Deshang, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so pale?" Che Xiaoxiao asked with concern. "It's nothing. I'm just a little uncomfortable," Wang Deshang said to Hai Long, "Everyone has worked hard all day. Go back and rest early." At this point, he could only cancel today's free clinic early. Otherwise, the Hall of Medical Fame would only be more shameful sitting here. After leaving the health square, he refused Che Xiaoxiao's company on the grounds of discomfort and went home. "Brother, you're back." As soon as he entered the door, Wang Daji greeted him. He didn't notice Wang Deshang's pale face. He followed him and said proudly, "Brother, I did a good job today, didn't I?" Is Qin Haodong completely dumbfounded? Chapter 324. Wang Deshang ignored Wang Daji and quickly returned to his room. He grabbed the red wine bottle on the table and poured a large glass. Then he drank it up, as if he wanted to use the wine to extinguish the depression in his heart. Wang Daji found that his mood was not right and said, "What's wrong, brother? You should be happy that such a big thing happened to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. Why don't you look happy?" "I'm not happy." Wang Deshang changed his usual elegant image. He threw the wine glass in his hand to the ground and scolded, "That gigolo is very cunning. Our plan not only failed, but it also made him more popular. Now everyone is shouting that the medical sage can bring the dead back to life." Wang Daji said in surprise, "How could this be? I asked that guy to test it on a dog. As long as he drank a little, he was like a dead dog. There was no breathing, no heartbeat, and even his body temperature dropped. How could he tell? I don't know how he could tell. In short, our plan did not succeed. This guy is much more difficult to deal with than we thought. Wang Deshang took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and said, "What about the rest of the medicine? Bring it back to me." Wang Daji said, "Brother, this thing is very fun. We can pretend to be dead and cheat people. Just leave it for me to play with." "It's not fun." Wang Deshang cried, "Is this something we can play with casually? Now that gigolo must be suspicious. We can't let anyone know that this thing belongs to us. Otherwise, there will be unnecessary trouble. Hurry up and bring the rest of the medicine back to me." "Brother, don't be angry. I'll get it now." Although Wang Daji was a playboy, he was frightened of his brother. He quickly ran back to his room and brought back the remaining half of the bottle of pink medicine. Wang Deshang took the medicine and looked at it. Then he turned around and put it into a cabinet next to him. This cabinet was completely his personal belongings. There were all kinds of bottles and cans in it. Suddenly, his expression froze. He picked up a glass bottle filled with white powder. There was only half of the powder left in it. He then picked up another bottle that was close to it. There was also less powder in it. He suddenly turned around and shouted at Wang Daji, "Did you touch my powder?" I. Wang Daji was shocked. He mumbled for a long time, but he couldn't say a complete sentence. Wang Deshang grabbed him by the collar and growled, "Tell me, what did you do with my medicine?" Seeing that he couldn't hide it, Wang Daji quickly said, "Brother, don't be angry. In fact, I didn't do anything. I just took these things to fight dogs. I want to win some money." "Bastard, didn't I say that you're not allowed to touch anything here?" Hearing that Wang Daji had just used it for dog fighting, Wang Deshang's anger finally subsided a little. Wang Daji quickly said, "I won't do it again, brother. I won't do it again." Wang Deshang said, "You're not young anymore. Don't just think about fighting dogs and flirting with girls all day long. Do you know how valuable my powder is? They're much more expensive than your dogs." Seeing that his brother's tone had eased a lot, Wang Daji breathed a sigh of relief and murmured, "In fact, this thing is not very useful. I lost all my money." "Lost?" Wang Deshang asked doubtfully, "How is that possible?" "No matter if it's a maddening agent or a delaying agent, as long as it's used on your dog, it's impossible for you to lose." Wang Daji said angrily, "It's all because of that toy boy. I won the first day and was about to win the dogfighting ring. Who knew that he would jump out the next day? After that, I lost again and again. I lost all my money." Wang Deshang's expression changed and he asked nervously, "What? You used this powder in front of Qin Haodong?" Wang Daji said, "I just used it in the dogfighting ring. I didn't know that he was here. But don't worry, brother, he didn't find anything." "Bastard, you can't do anything right." Wang Deshang was furious and slapped Wang Daji in the face. He had now learned how terrible Qin Haodong was. If he had known that his idiot brother had exposed this powder, he would not have asked someone to go to the Chinese Medicine Academy to blackmail him. "Brother, why did you hit me?" Wang Daji covered his swollen cheek and asked aggrievedly. "Get out of here and don't let me see you again." Wang Deshang yelled angrily. Seeing that his brother was angry, Wang Daji did not dare to say anything. He could only leave the room in disgrace. After he left, Wang Deshang sat on the sofa and lit a cigarette. He had a strong ability to control his emotions. After smoking a cigarette, he had calmed down again. No matter whether the powder could be exposed or not, it had to be done. This time, he had returned to Wuxia with a task from the organization. If he couldn't complete it, the severe punishment would make him tremble with fear. Thinking of this, he put out the cigarette, got up, and went to the Hall of Medical Fame. Because they came back very early, it was just the afternoon. These doctors were still working in the Hall of Medical Fame. Wang Deshang asked his secretary to call Fu Hailong to his office and said with a smile, "Mr. Fu, you've worked hard for this morning's free clinic." Fu Hailong shook his head and said, "Master Wang, you must be joking. I didn't expect this to happen this morning. I'm really not worthy of your expectations." "It's not your fault, Mr. Fu. I underestimated the reputation of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. It's my fault." Wang Deshang was very generous. He took the responsibility and said, "Mr. Fu, in fact, the free clinic doesn't matter too much. The most important thing for us now is to develop a heavyweight medicine, such as the blood revival elixir of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. As long as we can come up with one or two medicines of this level, it will be difficult for the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame not to become famous." Fu Hailong shook his head and said, "Master, your idea is good, but it's too difficult to implement. For so many years, only Qin Haodong has made the blood revival elixir. It's not so easy to develop medicine to cure terminal diseases." Wang Deshang said, "I'm a layman in Chinese medicine, but I know that you should have some ancestral secret prescriptions in your hands. Can't you take them out and produce them? As long as your medicine is good enough, you can rest assured that you will be satisfied with the price." Fu Hailong said with a wry smile, "Master, there are some things that can't be solved with money." "You're right. We old guys have some secret prescriptions in our hands. We don't usually give them out, but these medicines can only treat some ordinary diseases. We don't have any heavyweight medicines like leukemia. Also, 90% of our prescriptions need to feel the patient's pulse first and adjust the dosage and type of medicinal materials according to the patient's condition and specific situation. We can't mass-produce them like the blood revival elixir, which can adapt to all patients." "I see." Wang Deshang was slightly disappointed and said, "Mr. Fu, you go ahead. I'll think of other ways." After that, he sent Fu Hailong away and asked his secretary to invite Lu Baikuan. After some talk, the result was the same. Lu Baikuan couldn't come up with a good prescription that could be mass-produced. Wang Deshang was not discouraged. He talked to the doctors of the Hall of Medical Fame one by one, trying to find the results he wanted. Before he knew it, the sun was setting. He had talked to almost all the doctors of the Hall of Medical Fame, but the results made him very discouraged. These people either couldn't come up with decent prescriptions or could only treat some ordinary diseases. They couldn't achieve the effect of the blood revival elixir. Wang Deshang sighed. He had thought that as long as he was willing to pay, he would be able to buy a prescription similar to the blood revival elixir from these old Chinese medicine doctors. It seemed that he still didn't understand the Chinese medicine industry and underestimated the difficulty of developing a new medicine. If this situation continued, his bold words at the press conference would become a joke. He had boasted that the Hall of Medical Fame would be able to develop an elixir comparable to the blood revival elixir. Now it seemed that it was almost impossible. At this time, the secretary opened the door and brought in the last Chinese medicine doctor named Zhang Guoyang. He was only in his 40s, the youngest and lowest among all the doctors of the Hall of Medical Fame. Wang Deshang adjusted his mood and asked, "Dr. Zhang, do you have any prescription with a unique effect? As long as you can come up with it, you can name the price. Our company will definitely treat you well." Zhang Guoyang, who had already understood the purpose of Wang Deshang's talk, said with a wry smile, "I'm sorry, boss. I really don't have such a thing." "Oh." Wang Deshang looked disappointed. When he was about to ask the secretary to see him off, he heard Zhang Guoyang say, "It's a pity. My family originally had a secret ancestral prescription that could cure all kinds of kidney diseases. Unfortunately, it was burned when the Japanese invaded. Now it's just an incomplete prescription." Wang Deshang's eyes lit up as he asked, "Dr. Zhang, what's going on? Tell me in detail." Zhang Guoyang said proudly, "My great-grandfather was an imperial doctor in the palace. He often treated the emperor and the empress dowager. My family has a secret ancestral prescription called the 9 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill. This medicine is very effective for all kinds of kidney diseases. Morning it can be effectively treated as small as diarrhea and uremia. It's a pity that when the Japanese invaded the Central Plains, they burned down my old house. Even though we managed to snatch the formula of the 9 Treasure Kidney Nourishing Pill, one of the original 9 herbs was missing, and only 8 of them were left. It became an incomplete formula. Wang Desheng asked, "Doesn't anyone in your family know what's written on the prescription? Can't you just make it whole?" Zhang Guoyang shook his head and said, "It's called an ancestral prescription because it's passed down from generation to generation. It's never allowed to be passed down to outsiders. Therefore, the secret prescription of my family can only be passed down to one person in each generation. My great-grandfather was burned to death before he could pass it on to my grandfather. No one alive knows what's written on the prescription, so naturally, it can't be made up." Wang Desheng sighed and said, "Is there no other way to remedy it?" Zhang Guoyang said, "After my great-grandfather passed away, our family continued to be doctors for generations. My grandfather and my father have tried many kinds of medicinal materials to add to the incomplete prescription, but they can't reach the effect of the 9 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill." Wang Desheng said, "Only one of the 9 medicines is missing. If we try a few more times, we will succeed, right?" Zhang Guoyang said, "It's too difficult. There are tens of thousands of Chinese medicinal materials in Wuxia. It's not easy to mix them. In addition, Chinese medicine is very particular, and it's difficult to control the amount of medicine used. Sometimes it will be poisoned if we use too much, and it won't work if we use too little. Although our family has tried many times, we still haven't been able to make up the prescription of the 9 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill." Wang Desheng thought for a moment and suddenly asked, "What if there are only 8 medicines and one is missing?" Zhang Guoyang said, "My grandfather has also tried this. The conclusion is that it still has a therapeutic effect, but it will seriously damage the liver. Therefore, my grandfather left an ancestral rule that forbids our family from using the prescription of the 9 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill." Chapter 325. What a pity, what a pity. Wang Desheng sighed again and again. He seemed to feel sorry for the Zhang family's Jiubao Kidney Nourishing Pill. Then he said, "Dr. Zhang, I have an idea. Can you sell me your incomplete prescription?" "No way." Zhang Guoyang shook his head quickly and said, "My grandfather left an ancestral instruction. This incomplete prescription can't be spread or used." Wang Desheng said, "Dr. Zhang, it's useless for you to keep such an incomplete prescription. You might as well sell it to me. You can name the price." Zhang Guoyang said, "Boss Wang, to tell you the truth, this prescription is very harmful to the liver. It can't be used. Otherwise, it will cause serious consequences." Wang Desheng said with a smile, "Dr. Zhang, you misunderstood me. I'm a businessman. My purpose is to make money. How could I do such a stupid thing? I want medicine to cure diseases, not to harm people." Zhang Guoyang said in surprise, "Then what do you want this prescription for?" Wang Desheng said, "I'm going to set up a laboratory in the Hall of Medical Fame. It's very difficult for the Wang family to complete this incomplete prescription, and the conditions don't allow it. But if it's in my laboratory, it will be different. Although the process is a bit long, I think one day I will complete this prescription, and then it will bring me a lot of money." "Oh." Zhang Guoyang responded. He thought Wang Desheng's statement was reasonable, but he still said, "I'm sorry, Boss Wang. I still can't sell it to you. Our family has an ancestral instruction. This prescription can't be spread." Wang Desheng said, "Dr. Zhang, you still won't let go of the ancestral instruction at this time. What's the use of keeping such a broken prescription? It's useless to keep it. It's better to exchange it for some money to improve the lives of your wife and children. How about this, I'll pay you 5 million, and you sell me the prescription." 5 million? Zhang Guoyang was shocked. Although he was a famous Chinese medicine practitioner, he hadn't saved 5 million in all these years. After thinking for a moment, he shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, boss. I really can't sell it." 10 million. Wang Desheng looked calm and doubled the price. He seemed to be sure that Zhang Guoyang would sell him the prescription. "Boss Wang, it's really not about money, 20 million, 50 million. When Wang Desheng shouted the price, Zhang Guoyang was so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth. It was 50 million yuan, which was more than he could earn in his lifetime. He gritted his teeth and said, "Well, Boss Wang, since you want to buy it, I'll sell it, but I have a condition." Wang Desheng smirked and said, "If you have any conditions, just tell me. As long as I can do it, I will satisfy you." Zhang Guoyang said, "I have a son who is 20 years old this year. He doesn't like traditional Chinese medicine and doesn't go to school well. I want to send him to study in M country. I heard that you came back from M country. Can you help me? As long as you can help me, I'll give you the prescription immediately." "No problem." Wang Desheng agreed without hesitation. "It's easy to study abroad. I have a lot of friends in M country. I can guarantee that your son will go abroad within a week. You don't have to worry about the money. As long as you give me the prescription, I'll transfer it to your account immediately." "That's great. Thank you, boss. I'll go home now and get the prescription for you." Zhang Guoyang had a son named Zhang Shuai. This boy was indeed a bit of a loafer, which gave him a headache. He didn't like learning traditional Chinese medicine and cried that he wanted to go abroad. Today, he had finally solved his son's problem and removed a big worry for him. As for the incomplete prescription, as Wang Desheng had said, it was useless for his family to keep it. Since it could be sold for so much money, he might as well sell it. Even if something went wrong, it had nothing to do with him. "Well, I'll wait for you here," Wang Desheng said with a smile. "Boss, I'll be back soon," Zhang Guoyang said as he turned around and left. He was really fast. More than half an hour later, he hurried back to the office with a small wooden box in his arms. "Boss, here's the prescription." As he spoke, he placed the small wooden box on the desk and opened the lid, revealing a black and yellow prescription inside. The yellow side was too old, and the black side was burned. It was obvious that a corner was missing, and one of the 9 medicinal materials recorded on it was missing. "Boss, this is the prescription of the Jiubao kidney nourishing pill. Please take it," Zhang Guoyang said as he handed the incomplete ancient prescription to Wang Desheng. "Good." Wang Desheng's eyes flashed. He took the prescription and looked at it, then put it in his pocket. Then he called his secretary in and said, "Go to the finance department and give me a cash check for 50 million yuan. The secretary said, "Boss, don't you know what time it is? The finance department has already gotten off work." Wang Desheng patted his head and said to Zhang Guoyang apologetically, "Dr. Zhang, I have a bad memory. When I'm busy, I forget the time. How about I ask the finance department to give you the money tomorrow?" "No problem, I'm not in a hurry to use it." Zhang Guoyang trusted Wang Desheng 100%. After all, Wang's group had tens of billions of assets, so he didn't need his money. Wang Desheng said, "I just called a friend in M country. Go back tonight and prepare your son's information. Send it to him tomorrow. Within a week, the study abroad will be settled." "Great, thank you, boss," Zhang Guoyang said gratefully. At the same time, he was also very happy. The prescription that had been useless to him not only solved the problem of his son's study abroad, but also earned him a lot of money. It was like a pie falling from the sky. "Come on, let's have a drink to celebrate." Wang Desheng was also very happy. He picked up the red wine next to him and poured a glass for each of them. Zhang Guoyang said with some embarrassment, "Boss, this is not good." I'm still driving. Wang Desheng said carelessly, what are you afraid of? A glass of red wine won't have much impact. As long as you don't leave Jiangnan City, I can handle anything for you. It's rare to be happy today. We have to celebrate. Well, I'll drink this glass. Zhang Guoyang was a good drinker. He really didn't care about this glass of red wine. He picked up the glass and clinked it with Wang Desheng, then drank it up. Wang Desheng also drank up the wine in his glass. He put down the glass and said, Dr. Zhang, I won't keep you. I'll ask the finance department to give you the money tomorrow morning. Thank you, boss. Zhang Guoyang said goodbye to Wang Desheng and turned to leave the office. Looking at his back, Wang Desheng sneered and murmured, Don't worry, I'll burn it for you. Zhang Guoyang left the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame and drove his Passat home again. It was already night and the rush hour had passed. There were not many cars on the road. He was in a good mood and drove very fast. Suddenly, a construction dregs truck carrying construction waste drove out from the opposite construction site. He hurriedly stepped on the brakes to slow down, but he was surprised to find that although he had this idea in his mind, his body did not respond. Zhang Guoyang was shocked. He desperately wanted to step on the brakes, but no matter how hard he tried, his body did not move. He wanted to shout, but no sound came out. Wang Desheng, I. F***CKU. F***CKU. This was Zhang Guoyang's last thought. Then, with a loud bang, the Passat collided with the dregs truck. He completely lost consciousness. Qin Haodong and the doctors of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association were busy until the sun went down. Then, they ended today's free clinic. He stood up and moved his stiff limbs. He turned his head and saw Nalan Wuxia, who was in casual clothes, staring at him. When did you come? Qin Haodong asked. I came after work. I saw you were busy, so I didn't disturb you. Qin Haodong asked, how's the case going? Did you manage to dig out any useful clues from those two guys? Nalan Wuxia gave him a charming look and said discontentedly, you asked me this when we met. Didn't you ask me if I had eaten? There's no need to ask. You definitely haven't eaten. Qin Haodong said, let's go. I'm hungry. Let's go have dinner together. What do you want to eat? Just tell me. Nalan Wuxia said, I know a Sichuan restaurant. The taste is very authentic. Let's go there. They got in the car. Half an hour later, they arrived at the Sichuan restaurant mentioned by Nalan Wuxia. The decoration of the restaurant was not too gorgeous, but they could smell the spicy aroma of the Sichuan restaurant from a distance. It was very appetizing. They found a table and sat down. After ordering a few dishes, Qin Haodong asked, can you tell me now? Do you have any clues? Nalan Wuxia said, these two people were just ordinary blackmailers. They were completely used by others. The other party did it very cleanly and didn't leave any useful clues. Although it was not much different from what he had imagined, Qin Haodong was still a little disappointed. He said, it's a pity. If I don't catch the person behind the scenes, he will definitely trouble me again in the future. Nalan Wuxia said, in fact, it's easy to guess who did it. Qin Haodong smiled and said, then who do you think did it? Your rival in love. Nalan Wuxia said with a smile, that day, you trampled on the faces of the Wang family and delayed Wang Desheng's confession, so it's normal for him to find some way to get back at you. Qin Haodong looked at her and said, you're really well informed. How did you know so soon? Of course. The circle in Jiangnan is not big. Anything can spread quickly. Nalan Wuxia said, in addition, your Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association and Wang Desheng's Hall of Medical Fame are completely competitors. It would be strange if he didn't find some way to make trouble for you. Qin Haodong nodded and said, what you said is reasonable, but it's not absolute. I have a lot of enemies, and there are even more people who want the blood revival elixir. Therefore, I can't be sure that it was Wang Deshang who did it without evidence, although he is very suspicious. Then, he asked, by the way, did your technical department test the guy's blood? Did you find out what medicine he used when he faked his death? Nalan Wuxia said, yes, but nothing was found. The guy's blood tests were all normal. There was no sign of using medicine at all. You can't find out? Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. It was very similar to the poison that Dabai and Erbai had been poisoned with a few days ago. It was difficult to detect the type of poison with existing medical means. Thinking of this, he took out his mobile phone and dialed Hu Xiaoxian's number. Xiaoxian, how's the test of the samples I sent you a few days ago? Is there any result? In the dog-fighting ring, he had asked Bai Zipping to collect the fur and blood of Wang Daji's dogs and send the samples to Hu Xiaoxian. However, he had been so busy these days that he had forgotten to ask about the results. Chapter 326. On the other side of the phone, Hu Xiaoxian said coquettishly, little man, I have the result, but you have to say whether you miss me first, and then I will tell you. Qin Haodong looked at Nalan Wuxia next to him awkwardly and whispered, Xiaoxian, can you tell me the result first? No, if you don't say something nice, who will work for you for free? Hu Xiaoxian laughed again, is there another woman next to you, so you are embarrassed to say it? Qin Haodong became more and more embarrassed. This woman was really too smart. Tell me or not. If not, I will hang up the phone. It seemed that Hu Xiaoxian intended to embarrass Qin Haodong. Xiaoxian, stop it. I really have something urgent now, and I need your result. What's urgent when you are with a beautiful woman? I think it's inconvenient for you to talk, so you can kiss me. Hu Xiaoxian continued to tease him. This, Qin Haodong regretted making the phone call in front of Nalan Wuxia. He didn't know what to say for a while. Fortunately, it was noisy in the restaurant, so Nalan Wuxia didn't seem to notice what they were talking about. Well, since it's inconvenient, I won't embarrass you. Can you owe me first? Okay. Okay. Qin Haodong said hurriedly. He would talk about the future later. He had to get through this first. That's what you said. Don't deny it. Hu Xiaoxian said seriously, the samples you sent contain a kind of genetic toxin. This technology is very advanced, and it can only be detected by the Scientific Research Institute in Huaxia. It can't be found in local hospitals at all. Genetic toxin. It was the first time that Qin Haodong had heard this term. Yes, this is the test result of the Huaxia Scientific Research Institute. It is absolutely authoritative. Nalan Wuxia said, it's just a very strange thing. This kind of high-tech genetic toxin is very expensive. Each gram is hundreds of times more expensive than gold. I don't know why they are willing to put it on dogs. Qin Haodong was not sure where Wang Daji got this kind of thing. He said, I don't know, I just found it in the dogfighting ring. Little man, your medical skills are really amazing. The Scientific Research Institute used the most advanced instruments to find this toxin, but you actually found it by relying on people. No wonder so many women like you. It seems that I have to keep a close eye on you in the future, or I won't even have a sip of soup. I still have something to do. I'll hang up first. Qin Haodong hurriedly hung up the phone. If he continued to talk, he didn't know what this charming woman would say. What's wrong? Why are you blushing? Nalan Wuxia looked at him and asked. Qin Haodong said awkwardly, oh. It's nothing. Maybe the food is too spicy. What did you say? The dishes we ordered haven't arrived yet. It's too hot here, that's why I'm blushing. Nalan Wuxia looked at him strangely and didn't continue the topic. She asked, what do you think? Is there a result? There's a result. This is the most advanced genetic toxin. Our Jiangnan's technology can't detect it. No wonder we didn't find anything. Nalan Wuxia said, such an advanced thing should have come from abroad. At this time, Qin Haodong was sure that the drug used by the blackmailer was completely different from the toxin in Dubai and Erbai, but it was similar in nature. It was also a kind of genetic toxin. The toxin in Dubai and Erbai came from Wang Daji. In this way, Wang Deshang was even more suspicious. He said, now it seems that this genetic toxin is probably from M country. It may have been brought back by Wang Deshang, or it may have been from Wilson Company. It's not clear whether Wang Deshang has any connection with Wilson Company. At this time, the dishes they ordered were served. They chatted while eating. After the meal, Qin Haodong drove Nalan Wuxia back. They hadn't gone far when they suddenly found that the road in front of them was blocked. Nalan Wuxia got out of the car and said, "It's a traffic accident. It seems that a dregs truck and a car collided." Qin Haodong parked the car on the side of the road, got out and said, "Let's go and have a look. If there are any injured people, we can help them." They walked to the scene of the accident together. At this time, the accident handling car of the traffic police had arrived at the scene. 2 traffic policemen were busy at the scene. "Wang, what's going on?" Nalan Wuxia happened to know the traffic policeman who dealt with the accident, so she greeted him. When the traffic policeman saw Nalan Wuxia, he quickly said, "Captain Nalan, the 2 cars collided. The driver of the Passat was drunk and didn't have any brakes. The collision was very serious." Nalan Wuxia said, "Can we go and have a look? My friend happens to be a doctor. Let's see if he can help." "Of course. The ambulance hasn't come yet. It said that there's a traffic jam." The traffic policeman then shook his head and said, "But in my opinion, it's of no value. The truck driver only has some superficial injuries. The driver of the car was hit so hard that his skull collapsed. I don't think even a god can save him. Let's go and have a look first." Hearing that there was a seriously injured person, Nalan Wuxia and Qin Haodong hurried over. The Passat was seriously deformed after the collision with the dregs truck. Fortunately, the driver's door had been opened. However, because the driver was seriously injured, no one dared to touch him. They were waiting for the arrival of the ambulance. Qin Haodong took a look. The driver's face was covered with blood. His skull had collapsed and deformed as the traffic policeman said. He could feel that the man was dead without feeling his pulse. There was no value in saving him at all. "Haodong, how is it?" Nalan Wuxia asked. "He's dead." Qin Haodong shook his head regretfully. The traffic policeman behind them said, "Drunk driving really kills people. If this man hadn't been drunk and stepped on the brakes, he would probably be fine. At least he wouldn't have hit so hard." Then he sniffed and said, "What a strong smell of alcohol. I don't know how much he has drunk." Qin Haodong also sniffed. Suddenly, his expression changed. Then he bent down and carefully examined the dead man. Seeing his strange expression, Nalan Wuxia asked, "What's wrong?" Qin Haodong said in a low voice, "This man didn't just drink. There is a breath of genetic toxin on him. That is to say, he was not completely drunk driving. He was poisoned. The reason why the smell of alcohol is so strong should have something to do with this toxin. He didn't necessarily drink so much. How could this be? Who is this man? Who poisoned him?" As the captain of the crime squad, Nalan Wuxia had to be nervous after encountering genetic toxins twice in just one day. Qin Haodong said, "It's not clear yet, but the preliminary guess is that the person who poisoned him is likely to have something to do with the racketeering case during the day. This is a good clue. We must find out." While the 2 of them were talking, an ambulance arrived late. 2 doctors got out of the ambulance. After examining the dead man's condition, they directly announced that the man was dead and issued a death notice. At the same time, they took the dead man's blood for a test. Soon the test result came out. The blood alcohol content was only 30. The traffic policeman was slightly stunned and said in surprise, "Doctor, is there a mistake? Why is it only 30? It looks like he has at least 300. The doctor also felt a little strange after hearing what he said. He took the blood again and got the same result. The traffic policeman had no choice but to use this conclusion as the standard for the verdict. At the same time, it also verified Qin Haodong's statement just now. The man didn't drink too much, but the toxin increased the smell of alcohol, making people mistakenly think that he was driving drunk. Nalan Wuxia whispered, "Do you think this case is not a traffic accident?" Qin Haodong nodded. It seemed that someone had done something to him and wanted to kill him through a traffic accident, but he didn't know what the purpose behind it was. Nalan Wuxia turned to the traffic policeman and said, "Have you found out the identity of the dead man?" A driver's license was found on him. The dead man's name is Zhang Guoyang, 45 years old. We don't know anything else, but his family has been notified. While they were talking, there was a burst of crying. A middle-aged woman in her 40s and a young man in his 20s squeezed into the crowd and burst into tears on Zhang Guoyang's body. In contrast, Zhang Guoyang's son, Zhang Shuai, was more emotionally stable. Nalan Wuxia said to him, "I'm from the Jiangnan crime squad. I don't think your father's case is that simple. I want to know more about him. Can you answer a few questions for me?" Zhang Shuai wiped his tears and asked, "Do you mean that my father was not killed in a traffic accident, but was killed by someone?" Nalan Wuxia said, "I'm not sure yet, but it's a possibility." Zhang Shuai said, "Well, ask me. If my father was killed, you must put the murderer in prison. I promise you, it's my duty." Nalan Wuxia asked, "What's your father's occupation?" Zhang Shuai said, "He was a Chinese medicine practitioner. He used to run his own clinic and went to the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame a few days ago." Hearing the words, Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame, Qin Haodong and Nalan Wuxia's faces changed. They didn't expect that the dead man had something to do with the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. Nalan Wuxia asked, "What did your father do before the accident? Did he drink with anyone?" Zhang Shuai said, "An hour ago, my father came home in a hurry. He looked very happy. I don't know what he took and left. About 40 minutes ago, he called home and asked us to wait for him to have dinner together. He said that he had good news to tell me and my mother. He hadn't eaten yet, so he didn't drink." After that, Nalan Wuxia asked a few more questions, but she didn't get much information. She turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, "Is there anything else you want to ask?" "No, it's enough. The first time they found out that the gene toxin was taken out by Wang Daji. The second time they found out that the gene toxin was likely to have something to do with the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. Now the third time they found out that the gene toxin was related to the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. If the first time was a coincidence, then the third time was definitely not as simple as a coincidence. It was very likely to have something to do with Wang Deshang." Nalan Wuxia obviously realized this and said, "What should we do next? Do you need me to arrest Wang Deshang now?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "It's too early to arrest Wang Deshang. We don't have strong evidence at the moment. It's all speculation. Let's go to Wang Daji and ask him." Wang Daji felt very depressed after being slapped and scolded by Wang Deshang. He drove away from home and made an appointment with a female delinquent he often hung out with. The two of them first had a drink in the bar, and then booked a room in the hotel next door. They had just taken off their clothes. When they were about to have a big fight, the door was suddenly opened from the outside. Then Qin Haodong and Nalan Wuxia came in. Chapter 327. The girl screamed and pulled the quilt over her chest. Then she pointed at the two men and scolded, "Who the F***ck are you? Can't you see that I'm working with young Master Wang? How dare you come in? Do you want to die? In her opinion, with Wang Daji's arrogance, he would definitely break the man's legs and drag the woman to bed. But when she turned to look at Wang Daji, she found that his face was pale and his body was trembling, as if he was very scared. What? What are you doing here? Wang Daji asked nervously. After what had happened in the dog-fighting ring, he had a kind of fear from the bottom of his heart when he saw Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong asked Nalan Wuxia to wait at the door. He grabbed a sheet and covered his little bird. Then he raised his hand and knocked the girl out. Then he asked, I just want to ask you one thing. Where did you get the medicine you used in the dog-fighting ring last time? Medicine? What medicine? Wang Daji had already realized what Qin Haodong was asking about, but of course he couldn't say it. If Wang Desheng knew, he would be skinned. Don't play dumb. It's the powder you used on the dog. This time, Qin Haodong directly used mind bewitching. I stole it from my brother. Wang Daji said honestly. Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. These things were really brought back by Wang Desheng. Does Wang Desheng have a lot of this kind of powder? Yes, there are a lot of different kinds. There are about a dozen kinds. Do you know where these things came from? He brought them back from M country when he returned to Huaxia. I don't know where they came from. The source of the gene toxin was basically clear. Qin Haodong asked again, did you guys arrange for the two people who went to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association's free clinic to blackmail you? I found those two people, and the medicine was my brother's. Why did you come to my place to blackmail me? Wang Daji said, because there are too many people on your side. My brother's Hall of Medical Fame is inferior, so he asked me to make some trouble for you to ruin the reputation of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. The second thing was also clear. Wang Desheng did it. Qin Haodong asked again, what about Zhang Guoyang's death? Why did you kill him? Wang Daji said, who is Zhang Guoyang? I don't know. I didn't kill anyone. He's a Chinese medicine practitioner from the Hall of Medical Fame. I don't know him. It was impossible to lie under mind bewitching. It seemed that he had to ask Wang Desheng about this matter. He slapped Wang Daji unconscious and then left the hotel with Nalan Wuxia. After Zhang Guoyang left the Huaxia Hall of Medical Fame, Wang Desheng was not in a hurry to leave. He sat on the sofa and waited for news. Not long after, his phone rang. Young master, that person crashed into a dirt truck. He's dead. That's for the best. It saves us the trouble of taking action. Wang Desheng hung up the phone with a smile, then picked up the wine bottle next to him, poured himself a glass of red wine, and slowly sipped it. Now that Zhang Guoyang was dead, no one in this world knew about the existence of the Jiubao kidney-nourishing pill. What he needed to think about now was how to make the remnant prescription in his hands play the most role. Just as he was deep in thought, a noise came from outside the building. The bodyguard originally wanted to stop Nalan Wuxia and Qin Haodong, but he was knocked to the ground quickly. Looking at the monitor, Wang Desheng sneered, I didn't expect that they would come so fast. He opened the drawer and took out a small bottle. He took a white pill out of it and swallowed it. Then he picked up the red wine on the table and took a sip. As soon as he finished all this, the door was kicked open from the outside. Qin Haodong and Nalan Wuxia walked in. Seeing them enter the door, Wang Desheng smiled and said, Nalan Wuxia, you are the captain of the crime squad. How can you enter the door in such a rude way? Nalan Wuxia said, Wang Desheng, you are now a suspect of intentional homicide. Tell me, what happened to Zhang Guoyang's death? Is Zhang Guoyang dead? Wang Desheng's face showed a trace of shock, and then he said with regret, he is a good doctor I hired with a lot of money. How could he die like this? How did he die? People who didn't know the truth would be deceived by his performance. It was a pity that he didn't go to the film and television industry with his acting skills. Nalan Wuxia wanted to say something, but Qin Haodong pulled her behind him and said, "Don't talk nonsense with him. Let me do it." He looked at Wang Deshang and asked with mind-bewitching, "Why did you come back to Wuxia this time?" This question had been in his mind for a long time. He was worried that Wang Deshang would do something bad to traditional Chinese medicine. Confusion flashed in Wang Deshang's eyes as he said, "I came back to Wuxia to start a business. I want to make a fortune through the traditional Chinese medicine industry." "Is there anything bad about traditional Chinese medicine?" "No, I just saw that Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company was making money, so I also want to make a fortune from the traditional Chinese medicine industry." After confirming that this guy didn't want to do harm to traditional Chinese medicine, Qin Haodong secretly breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Where did you get those genetic toxins?" "I brought them from M country before I returned to Wuxia. A friend of mine did research in this area, so I bought some from him." "Why did you buy these things?" "I didn't think so much at the time. I just thought that they might be useful in the future. So I prepared some to bring back." Qin Haodong asked, "Did you do the scam at the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association today?" "I asked Wang Daji to do it." "There were too many people in your free clinic, so you completely stole the limelight of the Hall of Medical Fame. I gave him some medicine and asked him to find some people to make trouble for you and ruin the reputation of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association." Qin Haodong asked, "What happened to Zhang Guoyang's death? Why did you kill him?" "I don't know. I don't know how Zhang Guoyang died. He was just here talking to me about something. He asked me to send his son to M country to study. I had no reason to kill him." Hearing this answer, Qin Haodong frowned. There was no doubt that Zhang Guoyang had genetic toxins in his body. But if it wasn't Wang Deshang, who did it? Was there someone else in Jiangnan City who had this kind of thing? It was very unlikely. Even if someone else had genetic toxins, why would they kill a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner? Moreover, the last person Zhang Guoyang had contact with was Wang Deshang. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong looked at Wang Deshang again. He was sure that Wang Deshang couldn't lie under the mind-bewitching skill. It was really strange. Qin Haodong couldn't figure it out. Now that the questions were almost finished, Qin Haodong turned around and left the Hall of Medical Fame with Nalan Wuxia. After getting in the car, Nalan Wuxia asked, "If it wasn't Wang Deshang, who did it?" Qin Haodong said, "Logically speaking, it does seem like Wang Deshang did it, but he said it wasn't him. If it wasn't him, who else could it be? Is it possible that Wang Deshang is lying? That's impossible. I asked him in a very special way, similar to deep hypnosis. In this case, it's impossible for him to lie." Nalan Wuxia thought for a moment and said, "If that's the case, it's terrible that there is another person in Jiangnan City who has genetic toxins." She had now deeply experienced the horror of genetic toxins. If it hadn't been for Qin Haodong, others wouldn't have found this kind of toxin. It could kill people invisibly. Qin Haodong said, "This is really strange. Zhang Guoyang is just an ordinary Chinese medicine practitioner. He's not very good in Chinese medicine. Why would someone use expensive genetic toxins to kill him? What's the secret behind it?" Nalan Wuxia said, "Don't think about it if you can't figure it out. If you want to deal with Wang Deshang, I'll find someone to arrest him now. After all, he sent people to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association's free clinic to blackmail. The two people blackmailed 10 million yuan on the spot. Although they didn't succeed, they will be sentenced to 8 or 10 years in prison. Correspondingly, Wang Deshang, the mastermind behind the scenes, will also bear serious consequences." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "Did you notice just now? Wang Deshang said that he only asked the two people to make trouble, not to blackmail. In this case, at most, they will be detained for public security. Anyway, he is Momo's classmate and Che Xiaoxiao's boyfriend. There's no need to trouble him because of this. Nalan Wuxia said, "Well, that's it for the time being. I'll investigate it tomorrow and see if I can dig out other clues from Zhang Guoyang." Qin Haodong nodded. The clues had been completely cut off, so he could only think of a way slowly. After they left, Wang Deshang also left the Huaxia Hall of Medical Fame and drove back home. After entering the bedroom, he closed the door and took out the mobile phone from the drawer. He dialed a series of numbers. After briefly telling what had happened today, he said, "Boss, Qin Haodong is really not easy to deal with. Now he's suspicious of me." The voice on the other side said coldly, "I told you before returning to Huaxia, how could your idiot brother be exposed to genetic toxins? If not, he wouldn't have suspected you so quickly." "I'm sorry, boss. I was careless," Wang Deshang said, "but I've made a remedy. Before Qin Haodong came, I took the latest memory reorganization potion developed by our company and reorganized the memory in my brain. Our previous prediction was right. Qin Haodong does have some skills similar to hypnosis. He hypnotized me, but what he got was the answer I prepared in advance. Now it's a good thing. I believe that he suspected me when I returned to China and set foot in the traditional Chinese medicine industry. Through this matter, he should be relieved of his suspicion." The voice on the other side of the phone said, "Well, that's it for now. You must be careful in the future. Don't destroy the organization's plan." Wang Deshang said, "Don't worry, boss. There is some progress in this matter now. I happen to get a traditional Chinese medicine prescription, which will be very useful for our plan. You did a good job, but you have to hurry up. It's best to find a way to stop the sales of Tangmen Company. You know, every day that the blood revival elixir is sold will cause great losses to our company. You have to overthrow traditional Chinese medicine and the blood revival elixir as soon as possible. After that, the organization will give you a big reward. Similarly, if you fail, wait for the organization's punishment." After that, he hung up the phone. Wang Deshang also put away his mobile phone with a heavy face. He seemed to be enjoying the limelight when he returned to China, but only he knew how much pressure he was under. The next day, Qin Haodong received information from Nalan Wuxia. Zhang Guoyang had carried out an autopsy. He had indeed not had dinner, and the possibility of drinking a lot had been ruled out. However, other than that, no useful clues had been found. After asking a few more questions, Qin Haodong hung up the phone. There was nothing he could do now. He could only wait for the other party to show his foxtail again. Chapter 328. Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company was now on the right track. Production and sales were in order. Qin Haodong looked around and found that there was nothing else for him to do, so he drove to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. After entering the door, Gao Fengwen held a newspaper and said, "President, look, our free clinic yesterday was very successful. It has completely made the Jiangnan Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association famous." Then he handed the newspaper to Qin Haodong. The headline on the front page said, "The Jiangnan Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association gathers the power of traditional Chinese medicine." Qin Haodong took the newspaper and looked at it. The whole page was about the Jiangnan Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. He nodded and said, "Yes, it's a good thing. President, there's more." Gao Fengwen excitedly took a few more newspapers. Old people like them were not familiar with new media such as mobile phones and computers. Newspapers were still their main channel for information. At this time, Shen Xiangfu came in from outside with his little apprentice. When he saw Qin Haodong, he said excitedly, "President, yesterday our Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association was really famous. Now the internet is full of our news." Then he waved to his little apprentice and asked him to find the news for the president. The little apprentice quickly turned on his mobile phone and showed the news about the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association to Qin Haodong. The Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association, the hope of the rise of traditional Chinese medicine again. With a kind heart, the Jiangnan Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association went to the street to treat the masses. The medical sage reappeared with magical medical skills, brought the dead back to life, and revealed the true face of blackmail. There were also some negative news about the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. On the front page, the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association and the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame confronted each other on the street. The Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association was better. The Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame challenged the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association and failed. The challenge was not as good as the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. Does the Hall of Medical Fame really have famous doctors? Qin Haodong smiled slightly. These were all within his expectations. No matter how well Wang Deshang's Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame did, it had added a lot of gimmicks to traditional Chinese medicine and made the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association famous. Now the whole country knew about the existence of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. They chatted for a while, and Qin Haodong said to Gao Fengwen, "Mr. Gao, how about handing over the secret prescriptions?" Gao Fengwen said, "Under the leadership of the president, everyone was very enthusiastic and shared their unique skills. According to your request, the association also provided a certain amount of funds as compensation." Qin Haodong said, "Did you get any valuable prescriptions?" Gao Fengwen said, "Through these exchanges, the medical skills of the members of our association have indeed been improved. However, the prescriptions that we have come up with are very limited. Most of them need to feel the pulse first and then use them according to the condition. They can't be mass-produced like the blood revival elixir." Qin Haodong was not surprised by this. The blood revival elixir was derived from the blood revival elixir. It was a prescription he had brought from the cultivation world. How could it appear so easily? "President, someone wants to join our Chinese Medical Association." While they were chatting, Zhong Sihai walked in from the outside with a red face, followed by a middle-aged man in his 40s. "This is the president of our Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association, medical sage Qin Haodong." He introduced Qin Haodong and the middle-aged man. "This is Dr. Xie Tianxie. He wants to join our Chinese Medicine Association." Since he was brought by Zhong Sihai, he must have inspected him. Qin Haodong shook hands with Xie Tian and said warmly, "Welcome to the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association." Xie Tian smiled and said, "I've heard of the medical sage for a long time. The reason why I want to join the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association is because of your reputation." Qin Haodong said politely, "Dr. Xie, you flatter me." Xie Tian said, "Dr. Qin, to tell you the truth, the reason why I want to join the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association is that I want you to help me promote a prescription. As long as you agree, I will join the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association. If you don't agree, I will have to leave." After listening to him, Zhong Sihai's face changed. Xie Tian hadn't said that just now. Now it seemed that this person's motive for joining the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association was not pure. He was too utilitarian. Qin Haodong said, "Dr. Xie, if you are willing to join the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association, I will welcome you with both hands. But I hope that your motive is really for the sake of Chinese medicine, and you don't want to mix it with other things." Xie Tian said, "Dr. Qin, in fact, this is not contradictory. My prescription is a pure Chinese medicine prescription, which belongs to the ancestral secret prescription of our Xie family. It's just that there was no way to promote it before. If it can really be promoted with the help of Dr. Qin's Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company, it will be a great good thing for Chinese medicine and patients all over Huaxia." As he spoke, he took out a piece of A4 paper and handed it to Qin Haodong. "Dr. Qin, don't be in a hurry to refuse. Take a look at my prescription first." Qin Haodong thought about it and didn't say anything. He took the A4 paper and put it on the table. Gao Fengwen and the others were also curious, so they all poked their heads over to have a look. The name of the prescription was 8 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill, and the prescription of the medicine was written below. Gao Fengwen took the lead and said, "Wonderful, these 8 ingredients are all ordinary traditional Chinese medicine. I have never thought of combining them into medicine. According to the pharmacology, it should have a very good effect on diseases caused by kidneys. Good, it is indeed a good prescription." Shen Xiangfu and Zhong Sihai also saw the rarity of the 8 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill. They nodded and praised, "Good, good, it is indeed a good prescription. It is much better than the ones we have collected these days." Xia Tian said proudly, "Dr. Qin, the 8 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill is the ancestral secret prescription of our Xia family. It is absolutely suitable for any kind of kidney disease. Impotence. Mourning. It has a very good therapeutic effect on uremia, and there are no side effects. It can be produced in large quantities. To be honest, once the 8 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill comes out, I predict that the market will definitely not be weaker than that of your blood revival pill." Qin Haodong put down the prescription, looked at him and said, "Aren't you afraid that I will take such a good prescription for myself after reading it?" Xia Tian said, "To be honest, I had the idea of producing this prescription a long time ago, but I didn't find a suitable businessman. In my opinion, those businessmen are profit-seeking. If I give them the prescription, they will probably take it for themselves, and I won't get a penny. However, Mr. Medical Sage is different. I can see from your blood revival pill that in order to treat the people of Wuxia, you only sell it at the cost price and don't make a huge profit from it. It is absolutely rare to see a benevolent businessman like you in the world. That's why I took out this prescription. I believe that Mr. Medical Sage will not let me down. As a doctor, I don't want to seek too much profit from medicine. As long as you double the cost and give me half of the profit, it will be fine. Or you can buy this prescription directly." Qin Haodong said, "Cooperation is too troublesome. It would be best if you are willing to sell this prescription. Tell me, how much do you want? 100 million yuan. Xia Tian stretched out a finger and said, "I think my prescription is absolutely worth this price. If I didn't have the attitude of learning from Mr. Medical Sage, I would sell it for at least 500 million yuan. Qin Haodong didn't say anything and said, "Let's put the price aside for now. Let me try your medicine first." From the bottom of his heart, he also felt that this prescription was good and should have a very good effect on treating human kidney diseases. However, he didn't know why he always had a bad feeling, as if this prescription was a little strange. "You can try it. I have no problem with it." Xia Tian agreed confidently. In order to facilitate communication, the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association opened a huge medicine testing room with all kinds of Chinese medicinal materials. Although the quantity was not too much, it was better to have a complete variety. Qin Haodong and Gao Fengwen came to the room together. According to the type and quantity of the medicinal materials recorded on the prescription, Qin Haodong grabbed 8 medicinal materials from the medicine box. Qin Haodong grabbed the medicinal materials casually, but the quantity was exactly the same as what was marked on the prescription. It seemed that Qin Haodong grabbed the medicinal materials casually, but the quantity was exactly the same as what was marked on the prescription. Soon, the medicinal materials were grabbed and put into a medicine pot to boil. About an hour later, the medicinal materials were cooked. Qin Haodong took a spoon from the medicine pot, scooped a little medicine from the medicine pot, put it into his mouth, and slowly tasted it. Gao Fengwen, Shen Xiangfu, and the others also began to taste the medicine in the pot. Although this medicine was called 8 Treasures Kidney Nourishing Pill, for those who had been dealing with Chinese medicine for a lifetime, it was only a matter of form whether it was a soup or a pill. It didn't affect the efficacy of the medicine at all. About 3 minutes later, they slowly opened their eyes. Qin Haodong said to Gao Fengwen, "Seniors, what do you think?" Gao Fengwen took the lead and said, "Yes, this medicine is pure, and it does have the effect of strengthening the body and eliminating pathogens for kidney diseases. Shen Xiangfu said, I think so too. This medicine is definitely a good prescription for kidney diseases. Zhong Sihai said, it's certain that this medicine is effective for kidney diseases, but whether it can treat uremia or not needs further research. All three of them were sure of the effect of 8 Treasures kidney nourishing pill, but Qin Haodong shook his head and said, there's no need to research. There's something wrong with this medicine. I can't buy it. What? There's something wrong with the medicine. Xia Tian immediately became anxious and said with a red face, Mr. Medical Sage, this is a good thing passed down by our ancestors. After several generations of verification, there's absolutely no problem with the medicine. Gao Fengwen also said, yes, President. I felt it. The effect of this medicine is very pure, and it should be very effective for kidney diseases. Qin Haodong said, that's right. The 8 Treasures kidney nourishing pill can indeed treat all kinds of kidney diseases. Shen Xiangfu asked in surprise, President, what's the problem you mentioned? Qin Haodong said, I don't know if you felt it just now. Although this medicine has an excellent nourishing effect on the kidney meridians, it contains a burning qi. After taking it, it will immediately attack the Juyin liver meridian of the foot, causing great harm to the liver. As Emperor Green would, he knew the properties of all kinds of Chinese herbs like the back of his hand. He soon found the defect of the 8 Treasures kidney nourishing pill. Zhong Sihai and the other 2 picked up the spoon again, scooped some medicine from the pot, and put it into their mouths slowly. A few minutes later, Gao Fengwen opened his eyes and said, the President is right. There is indeed a burning qi attacking the Juyin liver meridian of the foot. Shen Xiangfu said, just now, our attention was fixed on Xingbu, so we didn't notice the changes in the liver. Now it seems that this medicine is indeed defective. This. What did Xia Tian want to say? However, he couldn't defend himself in front of these Chinese medicine masters. Mr. Medical Sage, this medicine is definitely effective for kidney diseases. How about I sell it to you at a lower price? How about 50 million? How about this, 30 million is fine. In a hurry, he lowered the price of the prescription one after another. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, if I'm not wrong, the 8 Treasures kidney nourishing pill is only an incomplete prescription. It still lacks a medicinal material that can calm the burning qi. If you add that medicine, it will definitely be a good prescription, but now it has no value. Chapter 329. After a pause, he added, if you give this medicine to a patient, the patient's liver will be burned before the kidney disease is cured. This is not a good medicine, but a deadly poison. If you can complete the prescription, I'll buy it for 300 million yuan. If it's just an incomplete prescription, I won't buy it even if it's 3 pieces. Xia Tian cried, you're talking nonsense. You're jealous. Our family's prescription is passed down from generation to generation. How could it have side effects? Is it a secret prescription passed down from generation to generation? You must have used it all these years. You've cured a few patients with this prescription. Call me and let me have a look. If there are really no side effects, I'll give you 1 billion yuan. Xia Tian said angrily, it's okay if you don't know what's good for you. If you don't want my prescription, someone else will. Then he turned around and left. Qin Haodong said lightly, keep your prescription and don't use it indiscriminately. Otherwise, you can't afford the consequences. Xia Tian's footsteps paused for a moment, then he left without looking back. Zhong Sihai said guiltily, President, I'm sorry. I didn't investigate him carefully. I didn't expect him to be such a person. Qin Haodong said, it has nothing to do with you. Gao Fengwen said, it's a pity. If there were no side effects, it would definitely cure many people. Qin Haodong was silent. With his mastery of medicine, he could completely complete the missing medicine as long as he spent some time. Shen Xiangfu said, President, do you think this person will sell this incomplete prescription to others? Qin Haodong said, I'm not sure. I hope he can keep the bottom line of a doctor and not be blinded by money. Half an hour later, Xia Tian appeared in Wang Deshang's office of the Hall of Medical Fame. Wang Deshang was talking and laughing with Che Xiaoxiao. When he saw Xia Tian enter the door, he said politely, Dr. Xia, you smoke. As he spoke, he picked up the cigarette box on the table, but found that it was empty. He smiled apologetically and said to Che Xiaoxiao, Xiaoxiao, I've finished smoking. Can you go out and buy me a pack of cigarettes? Okay, I'll go now. After saying that, Che Xiaoxiao left the office. Seeing that she had gone far, Wang Deshang closed the office door, turned around, and asked, How's it going? Xia Tian said, Young master, Qin Haodong is too vigilant. He even found out that our prescription is incomplete and pointed out that it's missing a medicine. He wouldn't accept it even if we gave it to him, let alone spend money. He even warned me not to use this prescription in the future. This kid is really cunning. Since I can't borrow his hand, I'll do it myself. Wang Deshang opened the drawer, took out a plane ticket and a bank card, and threw them to Xia Tian. Go to Europe for a few days and come back in half a month. Remember, don't tell anyone about this. I understand, young master. Xia Tian took the plane ticket and bank card, turned around and walked out. 5 minutes later, Che Xiaoxiao walked in with a pack of Chinese cigarettes. Where are the guests? You're leaving so soon. He's in a hurry, so he left first. Wang Deshang took the cigarettes, opened a pack, took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. After taking 2 puffs, he said, Dr. Xia's family has an ancestral prescription. I just bought it for 10 million yuan. Our company's traditional Chinese medicine factory will be able to quantify the production soon. Che Xiaoxiao asked, What prescription? Didn't you try it? Is it good? I bought it for 10 million yuan. Of course, I have to know. Wang Deshang held Che Xiaoxiao in his arms and said, This is a prescription for kidney nourishment. Impotence. Morning. It's very effective for diarrhea and uremia. I tried it last night. What do you think of the effect? You're so annoying. Che Xiaoxiao blushed and said, Since the effect is so good, when can we start production? Time is money. Of course, the sooner, the better. Now it's said that Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Group is suppressing our Hall of Medical Fame. We have to make some achievements as soon as possible to prove that I, Wang Deshang, am no worse than Qin Haodong. Che Xiaoxiao said, Deshang, in fact, you don't have to always compare with Qin Haodong. We just have to be ourselves. How can I do that? I want you to see that your man is the best. Wang Deshang said, I arranged for people to purchase medicinal materials yesterday. Now I'm organizing people to produce it. I'll hold a press conference in the afternoon and start the official sale tomorrow. Isn't it too fast? Che Xiaoxiao was quite surprised. She didn't expect Wang Deshang to have arranged everything. Wang Deshang said, I just want to make some achievements as soon as possible. When our medicine is successful, I'll marry you immediately. Really? Deshang, you're not lying to me, are you? Are you really going to marry me? Che Xiaoxiao's voice trembled with excitement. For so many years, she had dreamed countless times that Wang Deshang could marry her. She didn't expect that her dream would come true so soon. Wang Deshang said, Of course it's true. You've waited for me for so many years and suffered so much. I want to repay you for the rest of my life. Deshang, you're so kind to me. Che Xiaoxiao threw herself into Wang Deshang's arms and couldn't help crying. Silly girl, it's a good thing that we're going to get married. Why are you crying? Wang Deshang held Che Xiaoxiao in his arms, patted her on the back and said, Well, don't cry. Get ready. You'll play the leading role in this afternoon's press conference. I won't go. Why don't you go? I want you to accompany me. Che Xiaoxiao said coquettishly. Don't forget that you're the president of the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. I need you to make money to support me in the future. I can't stay with you all the time. Besides, I have something important to do in the afternoon. What's the matter? Wang Deshang said, it's a secret for now. All right then. Che Xiaoxiao didn't say anything more. In fact, she was a typical strong woman. After her parents died, she relied on her own ability to conquer the world and become the gold medal general manager of Dreamy Jiangnan. Her ability was absolutely superb. She only showed her dependence in front of Wang Deshang. After lunch, Wang Deshang left the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. Che Xiaoxiao carefully read the information left by Wang Deshang and held a press conference at 2 p.m. After the conference began, Che Xiaoxiao officially announced to the media that the first product was about to be released. A reporter stood up and asked, President Che, I want to ask, what's the name of your company's first product? What's its main effect? Che Xiaoxiao said, our first product is called the Treasure Tablet for Kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame. It mainly treats diseases caused by the kidney. The reporter asked again, President Che, can I understand it as an aphrodisiac? As he asked this question, there was a burst of laughter under the stage. Che Xiaoxiao smiled slightly and said, although our treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame can make men more masculine, it's not only an aphrodisiac, but also can effectively treat diseases such as uremia. Another reporter asked, President Che, when will your treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame be available to patients? Che Xiaoxiao said, the treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame has already been produced and packaged. The first product will be on sale tomorrow morning. The specific sales location has been announced on our company's website. President Che, I logged into your company's website and saw the distribution of the sales locations. I found a problem. These sales locations are next to the sales locations of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. Is there any special meaning to this? Does it mean that your company's products are ready to challenge the blood revival elixir? Che Xiaoxiao said, our company's sales locations are indeed a little closer to the sales locations of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company, but there is no special meaning to it. We just want to ride on the popularity of the blood revival elixir. It's not a challenge at all. The sales locations had been set by Wang Deshang before. In his words, it was to challenge the blood revival elixir and Qin Haodong. Due to her relationship with Lin Momo, Che Xiaoxiao didn't like this choice, but she had no choice but to give the reporters an answer in her own way. President Che, what's the selling price of the treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame? Che Xiaoxiao hesitated for a moment and said with a little embarrassment, 680 yuan per box. After she finished speaking, there was an uproar. The price of 680 yuan was also set by Wang Deshang. It was the same price and the same sales location. Even a fool wouldn't believe that there was no intention to challenge the blood revival elixir. At the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association, Qin Haodong, Gao Fengwen, and the others watched the live broadcast of the press conference of the Hall of Medical Fame. Gao Fengwen said angrily, what is this woman doing? She should just focus on developing her own medicine. Why is she targeting Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company? I really don't know who gave her the confidence. Qin Haodong just smiled. He knew very well that it was all Wang Deshang's doing. Che Xiaoxiao was just a cover. At the same time, he was also a little curious. Normally, Wang Deshang would come out and brag about it, or at least trample on Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company verbally. However, this guy had disappeared, which was really puzzling. When he heard the effect of the treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame, Shen Xiangfu suddenly thought of something and said, President, you just refused Xia Tian's prescription, and the Hall of Medical Fame began to produce the treasure tablet for kidney. Do you think it has something to do with that prescription? Did he sell it to the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame? Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, I don't think so. Wang Deshang is not a fool. Even if he got the prescription of the 8 treasures kidney-nourishing pill, he should have found someone to carefully study and analyze it. Even if he couldn't find the problem, he wouldn't have started production so soon. Zhong Sihai also said, I think so. It takes a few days to get a prescription, from research and verification to purchasing raw materials for production. It can't be so fast. They talked for a while. When the press conference was over, Qin Haodong drove back to Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. After entering the door, Lin Momo said, Haodong, you're not angry with Xiao Xiao, are you? She had just watched the press conference. Although she was a little uncomfortable with the provocation of the Hall of Medical Fame, Che Xiaoxiao was her best friend. She didn't want Qin Haodong and Che Xiaoxiao to have a conflict. Qin Haodong held her cheek in his hand and kissed her sexy little mouth gently. He said, how can I be so stingy? Xiao Xiao is just a cover. It's Wang Deshang who makes the final decision. Lin Momo breathed a sigh of relief and said, I don't know what's wrong with Wang Deshang's brain. Why does he want to go against us in the traditional Chinese medicine industry? Besides, the blood revival pill and the treasure tablet for kidney are not the same kind of drugs. There is no competitive relationship at all. Qin Haodong said with a smile, maybe it's because love turns into hatred, or maybe he's jealous that I'm more handsome than him. Who knows what he's thinking? But it doesn't matter. He's just a small fish that can't set off any big waves. While they were talking, Lu Yage hurried in from outside and said to the two of them breathlessly, oh no, something happened. Chapter 330. What's wrong? What's the matter? Qin Haodong asked. Lu Yage was usually steady. Something that could make her so flustered was definitely not a trivial matter. Our medicinal materials are going to be out of stock. Lu Yage said nervously. Lin Momo asked, out of stock? How is that possible? Why don't we go to the medicinal materials market to buy them? The company is not short of money. Lu Yage said, President, it's not about money. I just took people to the medicinal materials wholesale market, but there was no medicinal material. Even if we had money, we couldn't buy it. Lin Momo said, how is it possible that there is no medicinal material? Lu Yage's statement surprised her. The medicinal materials wholesale market in the south of the Yangtze River was also a large market. How could they not buy medicine? There is no medicinal material. It has just been bought out. Lin Momo asked, bought out? Who did it? Qin Haodong said, needless to say, it must be Wang Deshang. No wonder I didn't see him at the press conference just now. It turns out that he went to take drastic measures. Lu Yage said, Dr. Qin is right. I inquired about it in the medicinal materials market. It was indeed people from the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame who bought all the medicinal materials. Lin Momo's face immediately became ugly. Anyway, she and Wang Deshang were classmates. She didn't expect this guy to do things so ruthlessly. She asked, Sister Lu, how many medicinal materials are stored in our company? How long can we use them? We need 12 kinds of medicinal materials to produce the blood revival elixir. There are a lot of medicinal materials that can support us for about half a month, but there is a medicinal material that was out of stock a few days ago, so there is only 1 day left. If we can't buy the medicinal materials today, we will stop production tomorrow. No, we must not stop production. Lin Momo said angrily, I'm going to find Wang Deshang now. Qin Haodong stopped her and said, it's no use. He wants us to beg him now. Even if we beg, we will only be ridiculed. It won't solve any problem. Lin Momo said angrily, but why did he buy all the medicinal materials and leave none for us? Qin Haodong said, although his method is despicable, he bought it with money. He didn't steal it or rob it. It's reasonable and legal. What can you do? Lin Momo also knew this, but she was a little angry. She said, what should we do? We can't just stand by and do nothing, right? Don't worry, there will always be a way. Qin Haodong turned to look at Lu Yage and asked, Sister Lu, have you tried other ways? Have you asked other medicinal material markets around Jiangnan City if we can buy the medicinal materials we need? Lu Yage shook her head and said, the medicinal materials market in Jiangnan City is the nearby medicinal materials center. If we run out of stock here, there will be no stock in other places. Only the medicinal materials market in Shanghai can guarantee the stock, but it will take 3 days to go back and forth. It's far away. Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, don't worry, the factory is producing normally. I'll take care of the medicinal materials. Get the vehicles ready and wait for my call. Although she didn't know what he could do, Lu Yage could only nod and agree. Qin Haodong left Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company and went to the medicinal materials wholesale market in Jiangnan City. As Lu Yage had said, the usually bustling medicinal materials market was now deserted and empty. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Wang Desheng dared to play dirty. Then let's all play dirty. Let's see who can win. After the press conference of the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame, Che Xiaoxiao hurried to the production workshop of the traditional Chinese medicine factory. After all, she was now the legal representative and president of the whole company. From the bottom of her heart, she had regarded all of this as her and Wang Desheng's industry. She must do it well. When she hurried to the traditional Chinese medicine factory of the Hall of Medical Fame, she found that the yard was very lively. It was full of large and small trucks filled with all kinds of medicinal materials. What was going on? Although it was a traditional Chinese medicine factory, the quantity needed was not so large, and there were not so many varieties. Why did someone buy so many useless medicinal materials? She looked around and saw Wang Desheng, who was directing the medicinal materials to move into the warehouse. She hurried over and said, Desheng, what are you doing? Why did you buy so many medicinal materials? Wang Desheng smiled proudly and said, we are a traditional Chinese medicine factory. Naturally, we need to buy more medicinal materials. What if we run out of stock? But they don't need so many medicinal materials. I've seen the formula of the treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame. It only needs 8 kinds of medicinal materials. Why did you buy so many? Wang Desheng said, the Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Factory keeps the formula of the blood revival elixir tightly. I don't know what medicine they use, so I just bought them all. Now there is no medicine in the medicinal materials market. I want to see what they use to produce it. Che Xiaoxiao suddenly opened her mouth and asked in surprise, this. Desheng, did you buy so many medicinal materials just to cheat the Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Factory? Yes, there are no medicinal materials now. No matter how powerful Qin Haodong is, he can't produce medicinal materials by himself, can he? Desheng, how can you do this? This. Isn't this harming others without benefiting yourself? Che Xiaoxiao finally understood what Wang Desheng was going to do. It turned out that he was going to empty the entire medicinal materials wholesale market. Wang Desheng laughed and said, I'm harming others without benefiting myself. I don't believe that a little doctor can beat me. Che Xiaoxiao wanted to get angry, but she restrained herself and said, but it will cost a lot of money. We don't need to do this at all. You don't have to worry about the money. As long as I'm happy. Wang Desheng knew that even if he emptied the entire medicinal materials market, it would only cost him tens of millions of yuan. However, the sales of the blood revival elixir cost his organization at least hundreds of millions of yuan a day. Although this method seemed a little low-end, it was indeed effective. It could make Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company stop production in a short time. This, Che Xiaoxiao wanted to stop Wang Deshang, but she couldn't do anything about it. The medicinal materials had been bought, so they could only be put in the warehouse. Wang Deshang said, "Xiaoxiao, go back and have a rest. I'll take care of it." Che Xiaoxiao was a little annoyed looking at the carts of medicinal materials. She nodded and turned to leave the traditional Chinese medicine factory. Wang Deshang organized the medicinal materials to be put into the warehouse. When the sun went down, all the medicinal materials were finally put into the warehouse. He waved to the security captain and said, "You must send people to guard in shifts tonight. If even one medicinal material is lost, you'll be fired." "Don't worry, boss. I'll ask someone to do it now." Although the security captain didn't understand why someone would come here to steal medicinal materials, he agreed without hesitation. After all, the boss was holding his job. After doing all this, Wang Deshang nodded with satisfaction and sneered in his heart. "Let's see how you produce without medicinal materials." Wang Deshang left the traditional Chinese medicine factory. At that time, the sun was setting and the night was getting darker. The security captain followed Wang Deshang's instructions and arranged his men to guard around the warehouse. "Keep your spirits up and watch the medicinal materials here. If even one is lost, you'll all be fired." After reprimanding his men, the security captain secretly drove away from the traditional Chinese medicine factory. He had just made an appointment with a young woman on the internet that day. He was going to have a good time tonight. He didn't take Wang Deshang's warning to heart. Although a large number of medicinal materials had been shipped in that day, they were not very valuable. Who would steal them? Moreover, there were so many medicinal materials. Unless they were loaded in a large truck, how many could be stolen? He didn't take these medicinal materials seriously, so his security guards naturally didn't take them seriously either. After he left, they gathered together, chatted, smoked, played poker, and some even began to doze off. No one noticed that a ghost-like shadow had appeared in the yard. In the face of these loose security guards, Qin Haodong just smiled and entered the warehouse in the blink of an eye. Looking at the pile of medicinal materials, he was secretly amused. Wang Deshang was really willing to spend a lot of money to buy so many medicinal materials to fight against him. It must have cost at least tens of millions of yuan. However, as long as Qin Haodong was here, this kind of child's play would not work at all. It would only save him a sum of money to buy medicinal materials. Thinking of this, his mind moved and all the medicinal materials needed to produce the blood revival elixir were put into his storage ring. Originally, he wanted to empty the entire warehouse, but then he thought that it would be too noisy and easy to arouse suspicion. It was better not to expose the secret of the storage ring. After doing all this, he turned and left the warehouse. The security guards outside were still playing poker. No one knew that a large number of medicinal materials had been lost in the warehouse. Looking back at the security guards, he felt that it was a little unreasonable to take away the medicinal materials like this. He took out half of the ecstasy elixir, crushed it, and scattered it in the air. Although he had only used half of it, it was enough for these security guards to sleep until tomorrow night. After leaving the traditional Chinese medicine factory of the Hall of Medical Fame, he didn't go home directly. Instead, he turned around and went to the Wang family's villa. In recent days, Wang Deshang had caused trouble for him again and again, so he had to collect some interest. Compared with the security guards of the traditional Chinese medicine factory, the bodyguards of the Wang family's villa were much more dutiful. However, in Qin Haodong's eyes, there was not much difference whether they were there or not. In the blink of an eye, he entered the villa. The Wang family's villa was really big, with a total of 5 floors. It was already midnight, and the Wang family had fallen asleep. The whole building was quiet. Qin Haodong searched floor by floor and finally found the room where Wang Deshang was. He put his hand on the door lock and gently shook it. He opened the door and came to Wang Desheng's bed. He first hit Wang Desheng's sleeping acupoint, then stretched out his right hand. The 1,000 blades appeared in his palm, and then he turned his wrist and chopped at Wang Desheng's head. Of course, he didn't really want to kill Wang Desheng. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble. The 1,000 blades flashed, and soon Wang Desheng's shiny black hair was shaved off. In the blink of an eye, he became bald. The effect is not bad. Qin Haodong looked at Wang Desheng's bald head and was very satisfied with his saber technique. However, he always felt that something was missing. Shaving his head was not enough to vent his resentment. Thinking of this, he raised the tip of the saber and lifted Wang Desheng's quilt. When the quilt was lifted, Wang Desheng turned out to be in level 1 sleep, completely naked. The 1,000 blades in Qin Haodong's hand once again turned into a ray of cold light. In a breath, Wang Desheng's second-in-command also became bald. Qin Haodong smirked. "Boy, this is a lesson for you. If you dare to go against me in the future, I will cut more than just your hair." After that, he turned and left the Wang family's villa, leaving Wang Desheng, who had been shaved bald. Chapter 331. After leaving the Wang family, Qin Haodong went directly out of the city and chose a secluded open space in the suburbs. He took out all the medicinal materials in the storage ring and put them on the ground. Then he took out his mobile phone and dialed Lu Yage's number. According to Qin Haodong's instructions, Lu Yage had been preparing the car and waiting for the phone call. However, after midnight, there was still no news. She could not help but sigh secretly. It seemed that she was not omnipotent. After all, she still could not find the medicinal materials. Just then, the phone on the bedside rang. Lu Yage grabbed the phone as if she had been electrocuted and pressed the answer button. "Dr. Qin, have you found the medicinal materials?" "The medicinal materials have been prepared. I sent you the address. Arrange someone to transport them immediately." Qin Haodong hung up the phone and sent his mobile phone location to her. After receiving the message, Lu Yage personally led the team with 5 trucks that had been prepared and rushed to Qin Haodong's location. When she arrived at the appointed place and saw the piles of medicinal materials in front of her, Lu Yage asked in surprise, "Haodong, how did you get these? Why are the medicinal materials here?" "Don't ask. As long as you can guarantee the production tomorrow. You go ahead. I'll go back to sleep." Qin Haodong did not want to say too much. After that, he got in the car and returned to the Lin's villa. The next day, Che Xiaoxiao came to the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame early. When she found that Wang Desheng had not arrived, she took out her mobile phone and dialed his number. Wang Desheng slept very soundly that night. He was awakened by a harsh ringtone. He reluctantly grabbed the phone and pressed the answer button. On the other side of the phone, Che Xiaoxiao said, "Desheng, what time is it? Why don't you get up?" Wang Desheng glanced at the bedside alarm clock. It was already 9:00 in the morning. He said, "I've been too tired these days. I overslept." As he spoke, he sat up in bed in a daze. Suddenly, he found that there was a lot of hair on the bed sheet. "Hair? What's this?" Wang Desheng grabbed a strand of black hair and looked at it carefully. It seemed to be hair. This time, he immediately woke up and raised his hand to touch his head. It was completely bald and smooth, without a single strand of hair. Lie. Damn, where's my hair? Wang Desheng hurriedly came to the mirror and looked at himself. A big bald head appeared in the mirror. The skin of his head was shiny, and it was even cleaner than a barber's shaved. What was going on? Even if I lose my hair, I can't possibly lose it all overnight, right? While he was puzzled, he suddenly found that some of the fallen hair was bent. What was going on? I didn't even perm my hair. Why is there this kind of hair? At this time, he looked at the second leader in the mirror. He was also bald, without a single strand of hair. The curly hair was second leader's hair. Now he was sure that his hair did not fall out, but was shaved by someone. Needless to say, it must be Qin Haodong, the gigolo. On the other side of the phone, seeing that Wang Desheng was silent, Che Xiaoxiao asked with concern, "Desheng, what's wrong with you? Is something wrong?" Wang Desheng said with annoyance, "Qin Haodong came last night and shaved my hair." He was too embarrassed to say that the hair on his lower body had been shaved as well. Che Xiaoxiao said in surprise, "What? How was this possible? There are so many bodyguards in your house. How can he get in? Nothing is impossible. That kid is very skilled." Wang Desheng said angrily, "Only he would do this to me. Even if he didn't come himself, he must have sent a master." Che Xiaoxiao said, "Desheng, in fact, you don't have to be so stiff with Qin Haodong. You two have no conflict, and we are classmates with Momo. Why do you always make things difficult for them? I know what I'm doing. It's none of your business." Wang Desheng said and hung up the phone with a snap. Looking at himself naked in the mirror, Wang Desheng said with a gloomy expression, "Are you warning me? But what can you do even if you shaved my hair? There is still no production of medicinal materials. In a few days, I will make your traditional Chinese medicine company go bankrupt." Suddenly, he felt something was wrong. He hurriedly put on his clothes, found a hat, and put it on his bald head. Then, he hurried out of the house with several bodyguards. When Wang Desheng arrived at the warehouse of the traditional Chinese medicine factory, he was almost blown up by the scene in front of him. He saw more than a dozen security guards lying on the ground, still sleeping. "Bastard, did I pay for you to sleep with me?" He cursed and kicked the security guards but the security guard did not wake up. He turned over and was still sleeping. Wang Desheng said angrily to the bodyguards behind him, "Wake them up." Just then, the captain of the bodyguards hurried back from outside. He had been fighting with the young woman all night, and his face was still full of excitement. However, when he saw the scene in front of him, he was stunned. Were his men pigs? How could they sleep in front of the boss? "Bastard, where the hell have you been? Do you think I'm talking nonsense?" When Wang Desheng saw the captain of the bodyguards, he was even more furious and slapped him in the face. The captain covered his cheek and said, "Boss, my mother is sick." Wang Desheng didn't want to listen to his explanation. He said angrily, "Cut the crap. Wake these people up and see if there is anything missing in the warehouse." "Okay, I'll do it right away." The captain agreed and vented his anger on the security guards. He punched and kicked them, and even poured cold water on them. Finally, all the security guards were woken up. When they saw Wang Desheng's livid face, they were completely dumbfounded. They didn't know how they had fallen asleep. "What the hell are you doing? Did the boss ask you to sleep?" The captain scolded, "Open the warehouse and see if there is anything missing." The security guards hurried to open the door of the warehouse. The captain took the lead to check if there were any missing medicinal materials. 5 minutes later, he ran out and said to Wang Desheng, "Boss, it seems that some medicinal materials are missing." Wang Desheng slapped him in the face again and scolded, "Are they missing or not?" The captain said, "There are some missing, but not too many." In fact, the security captain couldn't be blamed. They bought too many medicinal herbs yesterday. They didn't do any statistics and classification. They just piled them up in the warehouse. Now, although they felt a little less, they didn't know how much was missing or what medicinal herbs were missing. "Bastards, get out of here. Don't come to work from today on." In a rage, Wang Desheng directly asked the bodyguards to drive all the security guards out. He was sure that Qin Haodong had taken away the medicinal materials they needed. It was impossible to stop Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company's production, and tens of millions of yuan had been thrown away. At this time, Che Xiaoxiao hurried over and asked, "Deshang, what's wrong?" Wang Deshang took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and said, "It's nothing. These bastards are sleeping on duty and some medicinal materials are missing. It's just some medicinal materials. It's no big deal. Don't be angry and hurt your health." Che Xiaoxiao comforted him, "The first batch of treasure tablet for Kidney of Hall of Medical Fame is ready. It will be sold in half an hour. Come with me and have a look." "Okay, let's go and have a look." Wang Deshang nodded. He also knew that this was a big deal, so he followed Che Xiaoxiao to their sales point. The sales method adopted by Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame was exactly the same as that of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. They had set up 10 sales points in Jiangnan City and officially started selling at 10:58 in the morning. The recent success of the blood revival elixir had pushed the reputation of traditional Chinese medicine to the top. Many people now believed in traditional Chinese medicine very much, and more people chose traditional Chinese medicine when treating diseases. In addition, Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame had invested a lot of money in advertising, so the sales site was quite popular. Many kidney disease patients lined up to buy the treasure tablet for Kidney of Hall of Medical Fame, looking forward to the magical effect of the blood revival elixir. 2 hours later, the first batch of products had been sold out. Che Xiaoxiao said excitedly, "Deshang, it seems that you made the right choice. The traditional Chinese medicine industry is really promising. If this goes on, we will definitely make a lot of money." A smile appeared on Wang Deshang's face. However, if one observed carefully, the smile was full of helplessness and bitterness. It would be good if it was just to make money. Unfortunately, he had to do more than that. In the president's office of Tangmen Group, Lin Momo made a cup of tea and handed it to Qin Haodong. She asked, "Where did you get those medicinal materials?" Since the secret of his rebirth had been told to this woman, Qin Haodong didn't need to hide the secret of the storage ring. He stretched out his right hand and a large bouquet of red roses appeared in front of Lin Momo. "Is this a magic trick?" Lin Momo asked with surprise and joy. While speaking, she took the roses in her hand and looked at them carefully. They were real roses with dewdrops on them. She sniffed and smelled the fragrance of the flowers. Qin Haodong didn't answer. His mind moved again, and the boss desk in front of Lin Momo suddenly disappeared. "What? What's going on?" Lin Momo reached out and touched the position of the boss desk. It was empty. It was not a trick. It really disappeared. Qin Haodong waved his hand and the boss desk returned to its original position. He stretched out his hand and pointed to the tattoo-like storage ring on his finger. He said, "Momo, this is called a storage ring in the cultivation world. It has its own independent space and can store any inanimate things. Last night, I went to Wang Deshang's medicinal materials warehouse and took back the medicinal materials we needed. Is this true? It's amazing." Lin Momo stroked the storage ring on Qin Haodong's finger and said. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it was true. "Haodong, how long have you kept this bouquet of roses? Why are there dewdrops? They look like they have just been picked. Did you just buy them?" Qin Haodong said, "Of course not. The storage ring is a good thing. It's like an independent three-dimensional space. There's no time axis in it. For example, if you put a cup of hot tea in it, it will still be hot after 10 years. It won't change. Great. With it, it's much more convenient to go shopping. You can buy whatever you want." Lin Momo took Qin Haodong's hand and said excitedly, "Do you still have this thing? I want one too." Qin Haodong was speechless. Women's thinking was really amazing. It was the first time he had heard that people wanted a storage ring for shopping. Storage rings are everywhere in the cultivation world, but they're treasures that can only be found by chance on Earth. "I'll bring one back for you when I find one." Qin Haodong said, even if you have one now, you can't use it. You have to wait until you become an official cultivator. To use a storage ring, one had to have sufficiently strong mental power. It was precisely because of this that one could use that storage ring. Chapter 332. Lin Momo asked eagerly, when will you take me to cultivate? Qin Haodong said, you're too old now, and you've missed the best time for cultivation. If you cultivate directly, the effect will not be good. When I form the gold core, I'll give you enlightenment. Not only can you save a lot of cultivation time, but you can also reach the foundation realm. Well, I'll wait for you. Lin Momo was now full of desire for cultivation, not for anything else, but to be able to live with Qin Haodong and the little fellow. After lunch, she said to Qin Haodong, it's time to change shifts. I'll go to the factory and have a look. According to Qin Haodong's previous anti-theft measures, the production of the blood revival elixir was divided into 3 shifts, and the leader of each shift had 1/3 of the formula. Even so, Lin Momo was still a little worried. Every time they took the medicine, she asked Lu Yage to supervise them. After all, it was a life-saving medicine, and there could be no mistakes. Lu Yage had been busy last night, and she had a rest during the day. Lin Momo was a little worried, so she decided to go and have a look by herself. Qin Haodong looked up at Lin Momo and suddenly found that her glabella was a little dark, and there was a faint sign of blood. Was there any danger in the factory? Thinking about this, he said, I'm free now. I'll go with you. All right then. Lin Momo and Qin Haodong walked to the medicine selection workshop of the factory. For the sake of safety, it was completely closed, and the 3-layer security door made of fine steel completely isolated it from the outside. The medicine selection process was very strict. There were only Lin Momo, who was in charge of supervision, the leader of the shift, and 2 pharmacists who were in charge of the medicine selection, as well as Qin Haodong, who temporarily followed them. In order to prevent the formula from leaking, the pharmacists were also strictly managed. Each group of pharmacists would leave after choosing 4 kinds of medicinal materials, and then the next group of pharmacists would come in. After Lin Momo arrived, she greeted the leader of the shift, took out his key, opened the safe in the corner, and took out the 1/3 of the formula he was responsible for. Then, she directed the 2 pharmacists to choose the medicine according to the type and dosage marked on the formula. After the first group of pharmacists finished their task and left, the second group of pharmacists came in. 3 yellow grass, 200 kilograms. The class leader shouted out the names of the herbs that needed to be selected and the dosage. Normally, the 2 pharmacists should immediately go and get the herbs according to the name of the medicine. However, one of the pharmacists had just taken 2 steps when he suddenly held his stomach and squatted on the ground, crying out in pain. What's wrong with you? Another pharmacist asked. Stomachache, I suddenly have a stomachache. Although the pharmacist was wearing a big mask, cold sweat could be seen dripping from his forehead. It was obvious that he was in great pain. Lin Momo walked to the man and asked with concern, how are you? Are you okay? The class monitor also came over and said, can you still hold on? If you can't hold on, I'll replace you immediately. We can't delay the production. I'm fine, I'm much better now. The pharmacist covered his stomach and slowly stood up. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and a cold light flashed in his hand toward Lin Momo's neck. At the same time, the other pharmacist also rushed to the class monitor. He stabbed a dagger toward his face and grabbed the formula in his hand with the other hand. Qin Haodong came to protect Lin Momo this time. He looked calm, but in fact, he had been on high alert. At the moment when the pharmacist took out his knife, Qin Haodong had already come to Lin Momo's side. He raised his hand and grabbed the pharmacist's wrist. With a sound of bones cracking, the dagger fell to the ground. Then, Qin Haodong kicked the pharmacist's lower abdomen hard and directly sent him flying. After saving Lin Momo, Qin Haodong did not stop. He tiptoed, and the dagger on the ground flew up and directly shot at the other pharmacist's arm. The dagger was full of strength. It pierced through the pharmacist's arm, holding the knife like a flying knife. At the same time, the knife that was aimed at the class monitor fell on the air. The class monitor was just an ordinary person. He had never seen such a scene. At this time, he was so scared that he was stunned on the spot and did not know what to do. The injured pharmacist took advantage of this opportunity to snatch the formula from his hand. He then threw it back, and a spherical object the size of an egg hit the ground. After a loud bang, smoke rose everywhere. The thick smoke quickly filled the entire pharmacy. Everyone could only see a vast expanse of white in front of them, and they couldn't see anything. It's a smoke bomb. Although with his strong spirit, Qin Haodong could still feel the location of the person, he did not dare to chase after him with Lin Momo by his side. He took Lin Momo with one hand and the class monitor with the other, and the three of them hid in the corner together. As soon as they hid, there was a burst of gunfire. Dense bullets were shot at the place where they had just been. It seemed that the purpose of the two people was not only to grab the formula, but also to assassinate Qin Haodong and Lin Momo. Lin Momo held Qin Haodong's hand nervously and asked, "What should we do? We can't see them, and they can't see us. Otherwise, they would not shoot at the place just now. That person is just trying his luck. It would be best if he could kill us. I guess he has started to run for his life now." Qin Haodong said calmly, "Don't be nervous. When Saber hears the noise, they will come to help immediately. After all, this is our place." Sure enough, after the gunfire, there was no more movement. It seemed that the person had escaped. The explosion and gunfire immediately alerted the people outside. Saber and his men rushed in immediately. After the smoke extraction equipment was turned on, the smoke in the room slowly dissipated, and everyone regained their sight. "Boss, are you all right?" Saber and Sword came over and asked. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "I'm fine." Lin Momo said hurriedly, "Someone took our formula. Search the whole factory quickly and see if we can find that person." Saber said, "Spear and his men are searching. He should not be able to escape." Qin Haodong said, "All this was carefully planned by them. They should have arranged a way of retreat in advance. It's too late to find him now." Sure enough, it did not take long for Spear and his men to run over and said, "Boss, we've searched everywhere, but we can't find that person." "Forget it. He ran away," Qin Haodong said as he stepped toward the pharmacist who had been kicked away by him. When he got closer, he found that the man was bleeding from his eyes, nose, and mouth. He was dead. It seemed that he was a man of sacrifice. He knew that he could not escape because he was injured, so he immediately took poison. Lin Momo said, "Our pharmacists are carefully screened. How could a killer sneak in?" Qin Haodong said, "This person is fake. I'm afraid the real pharmacist is dead." He squatted down as he spoke. First, he used a dagger to lift the mask on the dead man's face. Then, he rubbed his chest a few times. Soon, he lifted a mask, revealing the face of a white European. This mask was exactly the same as the one used by the fake Tang Long. It was made of high-tech 3D nanomaterials, so it was hard to tell whether it was real or fake. After seeing the man's true face, Saber said angrily, "It's these guys from M country again. Boss, do you want me to take some people to destroy their nest?" Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "It's necessary to fight back, but it's too early. It seems that Wilson Company is not the only one who is watching us. We can't be sure who did this." Lin Momo said, "These people are really crazy for the formula of the blood revival elixir. Fortunately, we divided the secret formula into 3 parts. Otherwise, they would have taken it away." Qin Haodong's nerves were suddenly touched by these words. He hurriedly said, Saber, arrange someone to go to the homes of the other two leaders to have a look. If they are still there, bring them to the company immediately. Saber quickly asked Sword and Spear to leave the company with several security guards to find the other two substitute leaders. After that, he turned to Qin Haodong and said, Boss, do you think they have already done something to the two substitute leaders? Qin Haodong said, if you were them, what would you do if you wanted to get a complete formula? Saber thought for a moment and said, I would definitely start with the two people who are resting first, because this will not arouse the company's intuition. Finally, I would get the last formula from the company, so that it would be complete. If they started with the company first, it would immediately arouse our vigilance, so it would not be easy to get the other two. Qin Haodong said, so if I'm right, the other two formulas should have fallen into the hands of the other party. After they succeeded, they would take the risk to get the last formula from the company. Lin Momo said nervously, Haodong, they didn't kill the two substitute leaders, did they? Besides, the three formulas have been lost. Has our blood revival elixir been taken away by them? Qin Haodong held her in his arms, patted her on the back, and comforted her. Don't worry, it should not be as bad as you think. They only want the formula. They will not kill people if the conditions permit. What about our formula? If they take the formula of the blood revival elixir, won't our efforts be in vain? Qin Haodong smiled calmly and said, don't worry, it's not that easy to take away my formula. It didn't take long for Sword and Spear to come back with a squad leader. However, both of them were in a coma and had to be carried back. One of them was Wang Xiaojiang, and the other was Jin Zhouyuan. They were both trustworthy employees brought by Lin Momo from Lin's group. After putting them on the ground, Sword said, Boss, they are both in a coma. We can't wake them up no matter what. They were drugged by the other party. Qin Haodong felt their pulses and took out silver needles to pierce several acupoints on their chests. About 5 minutes later, he withdrew the silver needles, and the two men slowly opened their eyes. Boss, why are we here? Wang Xiaojiang asked in a daze. Tell me first, what happened to you? Qin Haodong asked. Wang Xiaojiang said, I was watching TV at home. Suddenly, someone told me to pay for my water, so I opened the door. Two people came in and tied me up. Then, they gave me a small white pill. I don't know what happened after that. Jin Zhouyuan said, my situation is similar. Two people tricked me into opening the door and gave me a small pill. I don't remember anything after that. Lin Momo asked nervously, did you tell anyone about the formula? Formula? I don't think so. It's a company secret. Normally, I wouldn't tell anyone. Wang Xiaojiang said with some uncertainty, because he didn't remember anything after taking the pill. Jin Zhouyuan was the same. He didn't remember anything after taking the pill. Qin Haodong said, don't ask. They took a kind of gene medicine with hallucinogenic effects. They must have told the other party the formula. Chapter 333. Hearing Qin Haodong's words, the two of them immediately became nervous. As the backbone members of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company, it was impossible for them not to know the importance of the formula. They quickly said, Boss. Qin Haodong understood what they meant. He waved his hand and said, this has nothing to do with you. Go back and have a rest. Don't delay work. After a moment of shock, their eyes were full of gratitude. They had thought that they would at least lose their jobs or go bankrupt if they lost the formula. They didn't expect that Qin Haodong would turn it over without a word of blame. Everyone, get into position. Qin Haodong dismissed the others and went back to the president's office with Lin Momo. After closing the door, Lin Momo asked nervously, Haodong, is it really okay to lose the formula? Qin Haodong smiled and said, how can those foreigners understand the magic of traditional Chinese medicine? Although they have the formula, they still can't make the real blood revival elixir. Lin Momo asked in confusion, how is that possible? They have all three formulas in their hands, and we also made the medicine according to the formulas. Why can't they make it? Because I played a little trick inside. Qin Haodong said with a smile, to make the blood revival elixir, one of the ingredients was camphor wood powder. Did we use it when we made it? No. Lin Momo shook her head slowly. But we still made the blood revival elixir without it. Suddenly, she thought of something and said excitedly, are you talking about the box? Qin Haodong nodded and said, yes, that's why I emphasize that the blood revival elixir must be contained in a camphor wood box. The blood revival elixir will only become a real blood revival elixir after it absorbs the aura of the camphor wood box, so it's useless for them to get the formula. You're really cunning. As she said that, she hugged Qin Haodong and kissed him hard. Her worries and nervousness were all gone. Haodong, what will happen to the blood revival elixir if it lacks the camphor wood qi? Qin Haodong sneered. That's poison. In the large underground experimental base of M country, Garnett looked at the formula of the blood revival elixir on the big screen and laughed proudly. He turned to Davis next to him and said, what do you think, old man? My plan number 3 is much better than your plan number 2, right? Now I have the formula in my hands. Davis was unmoved. He took a puff on the cigar in his hand and said, I'm afraid it's not that simple. That guy from Wuxia is more cunning than we thought. Last time, Huang Weili also said that he got the formula of the blood revival elixir. In the end, I was still fooled by that brat. Don't compare me to that idiot. My formula was taken from the production line of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. How could it be fake? Old man, you are jealous of me. Do you know that? You are jealous. Davis turned around and told the technician next to him, make the blood revival elixir for me according to this formula. The technician answered and started to work nervously. Before taking action, Davis had made sufficient preparations. There were all kinds of traditional Chinese medicine in the base. After receiving the order, the technicians nervously got busy. They followed the prescription and synthesized the medicine. After an hour, 3 blood revival elixirs were delivered to Davis. Boss, the medicine is ready. The technician said respectfully. Garnett nodded with satisfaction and glanced at Davis proudly. Then, he ordered, bring me an experimental subject. Soon, the bodyguard behind him brought a dull-looking young man over. It turned out that his experimental base had always used living people as experimental subjects. Garnett said, give him the medicine. 2 technicians immediately came over, opened the young man's mouth, and stuffed 3 blood revival elixirs into his mouth. Old man, success is right in front of you. Are you jealous of me? After Garnett finished speaking, he laughed proudly again. However, before he could finish laughing, the young man in front of him suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, he began to bleed from his 7 orifices. He fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and died completely. Davis, who didn't seem surprised by the scene in front of him, said sarcastically, Garnett, is this what you want me to remember you for? How? How is this possible? I took the formula from the production site of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. It can't be wrong. Garnett was very surprised. The moment he had gotten the formula, he had thought that he had succeeded. He hadn't expected this result. He turned his head and growled at the technician, did you make a mistake? Faced with his murderous eyes, the technician quickly explained, boss, we didn't make a mistake at all. We made the medicine strictly according to the formula. Garnett shouted, do it again. Remember, you must strictly follow the formula. There can be no mistakes. The technician nodded and led the people to work again. This time, they were more cautious and serious than the last time. However, the result was the same. After the person who had been used to test the medicine ate it, he soon bled from his 7 orifices and died. Davis gently blew out a smoke ring and said, "How was it, old man? I told you that the kid was not easy to deal with. Your plan number 3 has failed. Qin Haodong, I must kill you." Garnett was like a mad beast, scaring his subordinates into backing off. Davis was not moved at all. He said lightly, "I've seen it now. It's almost impossible to get the formula from Qin Haodong. What we have to do now is to destroy him and the whole traditional Chinese medicine. Then there will be no threat to our development." Lin Momo had been browsing large foreign websites for the past 2 days. She paid special attention to the official website of Wilson's company, but she didn't find any movement about the formula. It seemed that Qin Haodong was right. It was useless even if they got the formula. Qin Haodong sat on the sofa and put a green herb leaf into his mouth. He chewed it slowly, closed his eyes, and tasted it carefully. He had been trying hard to find the medicine that was missing in the 8 treasures kidney-nourishing pill. After a day, he had tried more than 100 kinds of herbs. Although he hadn't found the missing medicine, he felt that he was getting closer and closer to success. He also had a lot of good prescriptions for kidney nourishing, but the herbs needed for the 8 treasures kidney nourishing pill were more common and easier to mass produce, so he tried to make up for the missing medicine. At this time, the door opened and Lu Yage walked in. She said angrily, "Dr. Qin, President, today the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame went out for a free clinic again. I heard that it will be a free clinic for 3 days. I don't know what they are going to do." As the president's assistant, of course, she knew the recent relationship between the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame and Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. The Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame always tried to ride on her shoulders, which made her extremely disgusted. Qin Haodong spat out the dregs in his mouth and said, "They can do whatever they want." In short, free clinic is a good thing for traditional Chinese medicine. Lin Momo said, "Isn't your Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association holding a free clinic? Last time, the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame couldn't lift its head. There's no need for that. We are all in the field of traditional Chinese medicine. There's no need to embarrass each other. Last time, they asked for it. It's not our fault." Qin Haodong said, "Moreover, the doctors of the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association are also part-time. They have old and young people to take care of. They need to make money by seeing patients. We can't always take them out for free clinics." Lin Momo said, "But I see Mr. Gao and the others in the Chinese Medicine Practitioner Association all day, as if it is their own home. Don't they need to go out to make money?" Qin Haodong said, "These old people are different. They are the leading figures in the traditional Chinese medicine field in Jiangnan. Generally, if there is no special disease, they don't need to do anything. Their disciples have already supported the medical center." On the side of the Hall of Medical Fame, Che Xiaoxiao always had a happy smile on her face. These days, she had been with Wang Deshang, which made her feel extremely happy. At the same time, the sales of the treasure tablet for kidney of the Hall of Medical Fame were getting better day by day. According to the market feedback they had received, this medicine was indeed very effective in the treatment of kidney disease and had won widespread praise from the market. Although it was not as good as the blood revival elixir, it was definitely a rare good medicine. This made her very happy. In addition to making a lot of money, it seemed that she had already seen the day when she and Wang Deshang would enter the marriage hall. Because of the wide popularity of the treasure tablet for kidney, the reputation of the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame had also risen. This time, more and more people came to the free clinic, which had achieved very good results. Che Xiaoxiao sat in the office and kept browsing the web. Looking at the overwhelming praise, she said proudly, "Deshang, now our business is getting better and better. It seems that you chose the Chinese medicine industry right." Wang Deshang came to Che Xiaoxiao with a glass of red wine and said, "Of course, I'm so excellent. How could I make a mistake? He picked up the glass and took a sip. Then, he said, Xiao Xiao, you don't have to stay here. Go back and cook some good dishes. Let's have a good celebration. Well, I'll go back now. Che Xiao Xiao stood up, looked at him, and said, Aren't you going to accompany me? Wang Deshang said, I have to wait for the doctor to come back. He has been working hard outside all day. We have to express our condolences. Well, I'll wait for you at home. Remember to come back early. Che Xiao Xiao said and left the office. The smile on Wang Deshang's face slowly disappeared. His expression became extremely complicated. At first, there was a flash of guilt, then it became ruthlessness and determination. Near evening, the Hall of Medical Fame's free clinic ended. Many doctors left one after another. Only Zhang Tianhe quietly went to Wang Deshang's office. Turning around and closing the door, he said in a low voice, Young Master Wang, I've done as you said today. I've made some changes to several prescriptions. You'll see the results tomorrow. At this time, Wang Deshang's face had changed into a warm smile. He said, Not bad, Mr. Zhang. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's my duty to do things for young Master Wang. Zhang Tianhe said with a flattering expression, Young Master Wang, when will you transfer the remaining $5 million to me? I always keep my word. I'll pay you $10 million. I'll transfer it to you now. I've already bought you a plane ticket. I'll ask my secretary to send it over later. You can go to M country tonight. Wang Deshang put a cup of tea in front of Zhang Tianhe. Mr. Zhang, drink some water first. Then he took out his cell phone and began to transfer the money. Zhang Tianhe's face was full of satisfaction. Since he had been humiliated by Qin Haodong in Jiangnan Hospital, his reputation in the upper class was no longer what it used to be. That was why he wanted to find an opportunity to spend the rest of his life in the United States. Years of savings and the $10 million promised by Wang Deshang were enough for his family to live a happy life in M country. He was very satisfied with all this. While looking forward to the future, he reached for the teacup in front of him. Chapter 334. After running around for a day, Zhang Tianhe was really thirsty. He drank all the tea in the cup, but not long after the fragrant tea entered his stomach, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. He raised his hand to cover his chest and immediately realized what had happened. He pointed at Wang Deshang, but the sharp pain in his heart made him unable to say a word. Wang Deshang put down the phone in his hand. He had just been pretending. There was no need for him to transfer $5 million to a dying man. How is it? Does it hurt? But it doesn't matter. You just have to bear with it. It will be over soon. He smiled and said, In fact, I don't care about the $5 million, but the mouth of a dead man is the safest, so you can't blame me. Zhang Tianhe's eyes widened and his body stiffened. He stopped breathing with a face full of unwillingness. He had never thought that he would be tricked by a young man after spending most of his life in this world. Wang Deshang took a document from the drawer, grabbed Zhang Tianhe's finger, and pressed a fingerprint on it. Then, he wiped Zhang Tianhe's finger clean and put the document away. Only then did he shout outside, Someone come quickly, Dr. Zhang is sick. Hearing his shout, the secretary and bodyguards immediately ran in from outside. Wang Deshang pointed at Zhang Tianhe and said, Dr. Zhang has a heart attack. Hurry up and send him to the hospital. The bodyguards hurriedly carried Zhang Tianhe into the car, and Wang Deshang followed. They rushed to Jiangnan Hospital together and quickly carried him into the emergency room. Wang Deshang lit a cigarette. Although he looked very anxious, he was actually very sure that Zhang Tianhe had drunk his medicine. Even a divine weapon could not save him. Sure enough, half an hour later, the ceiling light of the emergency room went out. The doctor in charge of the rescue came out and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Wang Deshang. We did our best." Wang Deshang grabbed him by the collar and shouted in a deep and crazy voice, "What? You're such a big hospital, and you can't even cure a heart attack. Dr. Zhang is the best doctor in our company. You have to save him no matter what." The attending doctor quickly shouted, "Wang Deshang, don't get excited. Dr. Zhang had a sudden myocardial infarction, and he had stopped breathing when we arrived. We really can't do anything." Wang Deshang seemed to calm down a little. He let go of the doctor's collar and said apologetically, "I'm sorry. I was too excited." Just then, a middle-aged woman in her 50s and a young man in his 20s ran in from outside. They were Zhang Tianhe's wife, Li Lizhen, and son, Zhang Bing. "What about Zhang Tianhe? How is he?" Li Lizhen asked nervously. Wang Deshang glanced at the attending doctor. The attending doctor understood and hurried over to explain, "Mrs. Zhang, I'm really sorry. We've tried our best, but Dr. Zhang had a sudden myocardial infarction. We couldn't save him." "What? You said that Zhang Tianhe is dead?" The attending doctor nodded. "My condolences." At this time, the young nurse pushed Zhang Tianhe's body out of the emergency room. Li Lizhen and Zhang Bing immediately threw themselves on the body and wailed. After the two of them cried for a while, the bodies were taken away. Wang Deshang stepped forward and said, "Mrs. Zhang, the dead can't come back to life. My condolences." Li Lizhen cried, "Young Master Wang, the old man was the backbone of our family. What will my son and I do now that he's gone?" Wang Deshang said, "Mrs. Zhang, don't worry. Dr. Zhang is a doctor of our Hall of Medical Fame. I will definitely take care of his funeral. I will also give you and your child a pension." In fact, Zhang Tianhe had been drinking and having fun all these years. He had had a lot of women. Li Lizhen and he seemed to be in harmony, but they were actually not. They often went to various high-end clubs. She was sad after Zhang Tianhe's death, but only a little. Most of it was just an act. When she heard Wang Deshang say that he could take care of the funeral and give her a sum of money, her crying immediately weakened. She said, "Thank you so much, young Master Wang." Wang Deshang said, "Mrs. Zhang, but I also have a condition. Dr. Zhang's funeral must be handled in a low-key manner. He must be cremated before noon." Li Lizhen said in surprise, Isn't this too rushed? Besides, our old man is dead. He should have a grand funeral. It can't be handled simply." Wang Deshang said, "Mrs. Zhang, here's the thing. Think about it from my point of view. Dr. Zhang was a famous doctor of our Hall of Medical Fame. He was also famous in Jiangnan City. He was just 65 years old this year. If it was said that he died of illness, it would have a very bad impact on the reputation of our Hall of Medical Fame. Many people would say that our Hall of Medical Fame can't even cure our own people. How can we cure others' illnesses? So I hope you can handle Mr. Zhang's funeral in a low-key manner and cremate him as soon as possible." Li Lizhen shook her head and said, "That won't do. Death is the most important thing. I have to give the old man a grand funeral. I can't agree to your request." Wang Deshang said, "I understand your feelings, but Dr. Zhang is dead. No matter how grand the funeral is, he can't come back to life, right? Well, if you are willing to agree to my condition, I will give you 1 million yuan as compensation." Li Lizhen shook her head and said, "No, I can't agree. This is not about money." Wang Deshang smiled and said, 2 million yuan. This. Boss Wang, you're making things difficult for me, 5 million yuan. Wang Deshang shouted the number and said, "Mrs. Zhang, don't forget that it's good for the living to live a good life. I think Dr. Zhang also wants you and Zhang Bing to live a better life. 5 million is not a small number. You have to seize the opportunity." Li Lizhen turned her head and looked at her son. After the mother and son looked at each other, they nodded slightly. 8 million. Li Lizhen said, if you give us 8 million, I will do as you say. Tomorrow, I will handle the funeral in a low-key manner and cremate the body. Wang Deshang hesitated for a moment and said, well, 8 million it is. Anyway, Dr. Zhang died in our company. This is a little compensation for him. He took out a check and gave it to Li Lizhen. This is 2 million. Take it to handle the funeral first. After the cremation tomorrow, I will immediately transfer the 6 million to your account. Thank you, young Master Wang. Li Lizhen took the check and received an additional 8 million yuan. This imperceptibly diluted the sadness in her heart that was not much to begin with. Wang Deshang left the hospital with a sneer on his face. According to the agreement, he should give Zhang Tianhe another $5 million. Now he had spent 8 million yuan, which was more than half of it. In order to get the other 6 million that Wang Deshang had promised, the next morning, Li Lizhen and Zhang Bing handled Zhang Tianhe's funeral in a low-key manner. They didn't even tell their relatives and friends. They hastily handled the funeral and sent Zhang Tianhe to the cremator. This time, Wang Deshang did not break his promise. He directly paid Li Lizhen and her son 6 million yuan and told them to keep it a secret. Li Lizhen had no objection to this. It was not a glorious thing to know. It was best to keep it a secret. At the same time, the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame once again held a free clinic in the health square. Zhang Tianhe's absence did not attract anyone's attention. After all, everyone had something to do. Zhang Tianhe was not the only one who was absent. There was another doctor who had asked for leave. However, not long after the free clinic began, there was a sudden disturbance outside the crowd. A group of people in mourning clothes rushed in, carrying a dead body behind them. The young man in the lead pointed to the doctors of the Hall of Medical Fame and shouted, "Where is Zhang Tianhe? F***ck Zhang Tianhe, come out." Che Xiaoxiao happened to be there. She hurried forward and asked, "Sir, don't be angry. What happened?" The young man glanced at her and asked, "Who are you?" Che Xiaoxiao said, "I am Che Xiaoxiao, the president of the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame. Tell me what you want." "So it was you who created this Hall of Medical Fame and killed my father. Today, I want you to pay with your life," the young man said as he rushed forward and slapped Che Xiaoxiao in the face. Che Xiaoxiao didn't expect him to hit someone. The slap was solid, and her cheeks immediately became red and swollen. Fortunately, the others stepped forward in time to pull the young man away. Otherwise, she would have been hurt even more. "What right do you have to hit people?" Che Xiaoxiao said angrily. "My father just had a little stomachache yesterday. He took the traditional Chinese medicine prescribed by Zhang Tianhe and died this morning. Shouldn't you be responsible? Today, I want you to pay with your life for my father's." The young man was about to pounce on Che Xiaoxiao again, but he was stopped by the others. "That's impossible. You're slandering us." Che Xiaoxiao said, "Dr. Zhang is a famous doctor of our Hall of Medical Fame. Even if his prescription can't cure the disease, it can't kill people." She really thought so. Compared with Western medicine, traditional Chinese medicine had very few side effects. Even if there was a misdiagnosis, generally speaking, it wouldn't kill people. "My father is here. What else do you have to quibble about?" the young man said, pointing to the body behind him. At the same time, he took out a prescription from his pocket, pointed at the handwriting on it, and said, "This prescription was written by Zhang Tianhe, and his name is written on it. You can't deny it even if you want to." Another middle-aged man behind the young man shouted, "Since you're a woman, we won't argue with you. Hurry up and call Zhang Tianhe out." Che Xiaoxiao saw the prescription and was sure that it was written by Zhang Tianhe. However, in the face of this situation, she couldn't do anything. Zhang Tianhe was already dead. Wang Deshang had gone to deal with Zhang Tianhe's funeral and asked her to lead the free clinic. She hadn't expected to encounter this kind of thing as soon as she arrived. Although she had been the manager of the dreamy Jiangnan Hotel for 5 years, she had never encountered such a medical dispute. For a moment, she was at a loss. Just as Che Xiaoxiao didn't know what to do, there was another commotion outside the crowd. "Bastard, Zhang Tianhe, hurry up and come out. I want him to pay with his life for my man's death." While they were talking, another group of people rushed in carrying a dead body. The leader was a middle-aged woman in her 40s. After rushing into the crowd, she waved the prescription in her hand and cried, "Yesterday, my man came here to see the doctor. That bastard Zhang Tianhe said that his liver was very hot, so he prescribed a few doses of medicine and said that he would be fine after taking it. Who knew that not long after he took it, my man would die?" Seeing this scene, Che Xiaoxiao's beautiful face turned pale. The death of one person was already too much for her to deal with. Now that 2 people had died, how was she going to deal with this? "Zhang Tianhe, pay with my son's life." Before she could recover, there was another cry from outside the crowd. Then, another person pushed in with another body. The third victim had appeared, and the victim's family was still looking for Zhang Tianhe. Chapter 335. In the president's office of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company, Lin Momo was busy at the desk. Qin Haodong was sitting on the sofa, taking out a small green leaf from time to time and chewing it, making pharmacological speculations. At this time, the door opened and Lu Yage hurried in from the outside. "Dr. Qin, Momo, something happened." Lu Yage said. "Something happened? What happened this time? Didn't we solve the problem of medicinal materials?" Qin Haodong asked. "It's not our company. It's the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame." Qin Haodong and Lin Momo were relieved to hear that it was the Hall of Medical Fame. Qin Haodong asked, "Isn't the Hall of Medical Fame doing well recently? The kidney treasure tablet is also selling very well. What happened?" Lu Yage said, "You don't know yet. Now there is a lot of noise on the internet. During yesterday's free clinic, the Hall of Medical Fame killed 3 people at once. Today they all came to our door. 3 people died." Qin Haodong stood up. He keenly felt that this was not just a matter of the Hall of Medical Fame, but a matter of the whole traditional Chinese medicine. He said with annoyance, "How could this be? I've read the information of the doctors in the Hall of Medical Fame. They are all very skilled traditional Chinese medicine practitioners. How could they kill people, and 3 of them at once?" Lu Yage said, "I don't know the specific situation, but I heard that the doctor who killed them was Zhang Tianhe. The 3 prescriptions were written by him." "Zhang Tianhe?" Qin Haodong was slightly stunned when he heard the name. He was quite familiar with Zhang Tianhe. Although most of his fame was hyped up, he did have some real skills. At least he couldn't kill 3 people in a row. He said, "There must be something hidden in this matter. Zhang Tianhe has been a doctor all his life and has never heard of a case of killing people. It's impossible for him to kill 3 people in one day." "I don't know. I read it on the internet," Lu Yage said. Now the matter is getting bigger and bigger. The internet has been noisy. At first, everyone just condemned Zhang Tianhe. Later, many people jumped out and accused traditional Chinese medicine as pseudoscience, shouting for the country to abolish the system of traditional Chinese medicine. Nonsense. The matter hasn't been investigated yet. How can you abolish traditional Chinese medicine? An inexplicable fire rose in Qin Haodong's heart. What he wanted to do was to develop traditional Chinese medicine. He had just made a little progress through the blood revival elixir. He hadn't expected such a thing to happen. Seeing his nervous look, Lin Momo said, "Haodong, is it serious?" Qin Haodong said with a serious face, "Although Jiangnan is not the capital, it is a famous place in the field of traditional Chinese medicine, which has a great influence on the whole Chinese medicine field. Now we are in troubled times and traditional Chinese medicine is in a precarious situation. If such a big thing happens, not only will the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame be completely finished, but the entire traditional Chinese medicine industry will also be affected. Lin Momo also realized the seriousness of the matter. Although it had happened in the Hall of Medical Fame, it could definitely affect the entire Chinese medicine industry, including Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. However, she still comforted him, "Haodong, you don't have to be so nervous. Although something happened, the Wang family should be able to handle it with their strength." Lu Yage said, "It seems that the Wang family has not made a sound yet. After the incident, the police have taken Che Xiaoxiao away." "What? Did they take Che Xiaoxiao away? Why was that? Shouldn't they arrest Wang Deshang?" Hearing that her best friend had been arrested and taken to the police station, Lin Momo immediately became nervous. Lu Yage said, "I also saw the news on the internet. I don't know the specific situation." Qin Haodong said, "Don't you know? The legal person of the Wuxia Hall of Medical Fame is Che Xiaoxiao. Since something happened, the legal person should be arrested. Wang Deshang is just an investor, so he can't be held responsible." Speaking of this, he could not help but feel a chill in his heart. If all this had been carefully planned by Wang Deshang, it would be too terrible. Damn Wang Deshang, he's such a scammer. Lin Momo grabbed her handbag and said anxiously, "Haodong, hurry up and come with me to see how Xiaoxiao is doing. She's such a poor girl. Even her parents are gone. No one cares about what happened." Qin Haodong went out with her. After getting in the car, he took out his mobile phone and dialed Nailan Wuxia's number. "You want to ask about the Hall of Medical Fame, right? Because the impact of this matter is particularly great, the Municipal Bureau handed over the case to our crime squad. Che Xiaoxiao is making a statement in the interrogation room." Before Qin Haodong could speak, Nailan Wuxia had already said all the answers he wanted. "I'm on my way to the crime squad. I'll be there soon." Qin Haodong hung up the phone and drove straight to the crime squad of Jiangnan City. Hearing that Che Xiaoxiao was making a statement in the crime squad, Lin Momo complained, "The Hall of Medical Fame is run by Wang Deshang, and Zhang Tianhe is the one who cured people. Why should Xiaoxiao be arrested?" Qin Haodong comforted her. "Don't worry too much. As you said, although only 3 people died, Zhang Tianhe was the one who treated them. The Wang family is behind the Hall of Medical Fame, so Xiaoxiao shouldn't be in trouble." 10 minutes later, they arrived at the crime squad of Jiangnan City. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo to Nailan Wuxia's office. After entering the door, Lin Momo asked nervously, "Sister Wuxia, how is the situation? Is Xiaoxiao okay?" After asking the two of them to sit down, Nailan Wuxia said, "The situation is not optimistic. Che Xiaoxiao may be held criminally responsible for this matter." Lin Momo had just sat in the chair, but when she heard this, she jumped up again. She didn't care about politeness and said anxiously, "Why? It was Zhang Tianhe who cured people. What does it have to do with Xiaoxiao?" "Sister Momo, don't worry. Listen to me slowly." Nailan Wuxia said, "The worst thing is that Zhang Tianhe is dead. Someone must be held responsible for this matter. Che Xiaoxiao is the legal representative of the Hall of Medical Fame, so of course, she is the first person responsible for this case. Zhang Tianhe is dead. How did he die?" Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. With Zhang Tianhe's medical skills, it was already very unbelievable that he had cured 3 people in one day. Now he had suddenly died. Wasn't this coincidence a bit too shocking? Nailan Wuxia said, "Last night, Zhang Tianhe died of a sudden myocardial infarction. This is the death certificate and rescue record issued by Jiangnan Hospital." As she spoke, she was about to send a few pieces of evidence to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong flipped through them. Judging from the certificate issued by Jiangnan Hospital, Zhang Tianhe had indeed died of a sudden myocardial infarction. The time of death had just been after work. However, there were too many suspicious points in this matter, which made it hard for him to believe. He said, "Where is Zhang Tianhe's body? I want to see it." Nalan Wuxia shook her head and said, "It's too late. Just this morning, Zhang Tianhe finished the funeral. He has been cremated, and now there is only a handful of ashes." He was cremated so quickly. Qin Haodong was even more convinced that there was something wrong. According to the customs of Jiangnan, the dead would not be cremated until 3 days later. Zhang Tianhe had died yesterday and was cremated this morning. There must be an unspeakable secret. Lin Momo also noticed the difference and said, "Sister Wuxia, there must be something wrong with this. The police have to find out why he died after treating people and was cremated immediately after death." Nalan Wuxia said with a bitter smile, "I also think this is unusual, but the police can't do anything about it. After all, when to cremate and how to handle the funeral are the rights of the family. We have no right to interfere. The law needs evidence. We can't say that there is something wrong with it just because of this. Sister Wuxia, you have to find a way to help Xiao Xiao. She was completely tricked by Wang Deshang. She was doing well as a general manager in dreamy Jiangnan, but she ran here to be a president and became the legal representative of the company." Nalan Wuxia said, "Sister Momo, I understand your feelings, but the law is the law. Che Xiaoxiao became the legal representative of the company on her own accord. Wang Deshang didn't force her to do it. You can't blame others for this." Lin Momo said angrily, "She must have been deceived by that bastard Wang Deshang." Nalan Wuxia smiled and said, "Sister Momo, who is the legal representative of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company?" "It's me." As soon as Lin Momo finished speaking, she realized Nalan Wuxia's intention and immediately said, "The reason why I'm the legal representative and president is that Haodong doesn't have time, and Haodong certainly won't cheat me." Nalan Wuxia said with a smile, "I guess what you think should be what she thinks. Che Xiaoxiao doesn't think that Wang Deshang will cheat her." But what else did Lin Momo want to say? But she was stopped by Qin Haodong. He said to Nalan Wuxia, "Anyway, we have to find a way to help Xiao Xiao. Can you help us think of a good way?" Nalan Wuxia said, "Now that this matter has caused such a big sensation, someone must take responsibility. Zhang Tianhe is dead, so only Che Xiaoxiao can take responsibility. What I can do here is to get bail for her and wait for trial. In the end, whether she will take responsibility or not, and how much responsibility she will bear, will be decided by the court. This." Lin Momo said unwillingly, "Is there no other way?" Nalan Wuxia shook her head and said, "Not yet." Qin Haodong patted Lin Momo on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry. Let's take Xiao Xiao back first. There is still some time before the trial. We should be able to find a way." Lin Momo said, "How much does it cost to get bail?" "I can pay for Xiao Xiao." Nalan Wuxia said, "No need. Wang Deshang has just finished the bail procedure for Che Xiaoxiao. She can leave after the statement is made." Lin Momo said, "Well, we won't bother you anymore. Let's go see Xiao Xiao." The two of them waited at the door of the crime squad for a while, and then Wang Deshang came out with Che Xiaoxiao. "Xiao Xiao, are you okay?" Lin Momo immediately rushed over and saw Che Xiaoxiao's red and swollen cheeks. She asked nervously, "What happened to your face? Who hit you?" In contrast, Che Xiaoxiao looked much calmer. She said with a smile, "It was the families of the deceased. They are all dead, so it's only right that they hit me." Lin Momo said angrily, "Why did they hit you? The Hall of Medical Fame belongs to Wang Deshang. They should have hit him." Wang Deshang said guiltily, "Momo is right. I hurt Xiao Xiao, but I couldn't help it. I wasn't there at the time." If I had been there, I wouldn't have let them hurt Xiao Xiao. Che Xiaoxiao said, Momo, don't blame Deshang. He didn't want this to happen. You're still defending him at this time. Lin Momo glared at Wang Deshang and said, how are you going to deal with this? Do you really want Xiao Xiao to go to jail? Did you predict this day would come? That's why you let Xiao Xiao be the legal representative. Wang Deshang said, Momo, you wronged me. I'm not an immortal. How could I have known that people would die in the Hall of Medical Fame? The reason why I made Xiao Xiao the legal representative was to give all the assets to her. I had no other intention. Chapter 336. Lin Momo also felt that Wang Deshang had not intended to do this. Her tone softened a lot, but she still said, what do you think we should do now? Do you really want Xiao Xiao to go to jail? Definitely not. Wang Deshang patted his chest and said, Momo, don't worry. Even if we go bankrupt, we won't let Xiao Xiao go to jail. Lin Momo said, Wang Deshang, remember what you said. If you dare to let Xiao Xiao suffer any grievances with you, I won't spare you. At this time, Qin Haodong came over and patted Wang Deshang on the shoulder. He said in his ear, God is watching what you do. Don't do anything against your conscience, or you will die miserably. His voice was very low, and his tone was very soft, but Wang Deshang could not help but shiver when he heard it. Lin Momo said to Che Xiaoxiao, let's go to dinner. I'll calm you down. Che Xiaoxiao said, no, I've been out for so long, and such a big thing has happened in the company. There must be a lot to deal with. Let's get together again when we have time. Lin Momo sighed and said, well, it's up to you. After that, the four of them separated and drove away from the crime squad. After getting in the car, Lin Momo said angrily, I don't know what Xiao Xiao owed Wang Deshang in her previous life. She didn't want to be a general manager, but ran out to suffer with him. Qin Haodong said, Zhou Yu beat Huang Gai, and he was willing to be beaten. You didn't see Xiao Xiao smiling happily from beginning to end. In her opinion, this is not suffering. Lin Momo sighed and said, I hope the Wang family can have some conscience and deal with this matter. The Wang family has been operating in Jiangnan for so many years, and they should have a strong network. In addition, Wang Haiding is the president of the Jiangnan Chamber of Commerce. If they do their best, there should be no problem. At least it will be easy to get a reprieve for Xiao Xiao. Qin Haodong said, the most fundamental thing in this matter is to appease the families of the deceased. As long as they stop making trouble, everything else will be easy. With the Wang family's manpower and financial resources, it should be very easy to do. They returned to the company. Time passed slowly, but they found that there was no movement from the Wang family. The families of the deceased were making more and more noise. At the same time, this matter quickly spread on the internet and major media. All kinds of posts were flying everywhere. Some were seeking justice for the families of the deceased, some were scolding Zhang Tianhe, the Hall of Medical Fame, and some were scolding traditional Chinese medicine. Some were clamoring that traditional Chinese medicine was pseudoscience and should be abolished as soon as possible. There were also some people who stood up to defend traditional Chinese medicine, especially the patients who had recently been cured by the blood revival elixir. They became the backbone of defending traditional Chinese medicine and fought with those who clamored to abolish traditional Chinese medicine. They quarreled in various forums. However, what was strange was that the Wang family hadn't taken any action from the beginning to the ferment. Wang Deshang hadn't made any noise either, as if they were letting the matter continue to deteriorate. Lin Momo grabbed a folder and slammed it on the table. She said angrily, Wang Deshang hasn't talked about compensation with the families of the deceased yet. What the hell is he doing? Do you really have to send Xiao Xiao to prison? Qin Haodong said, forget it. It's useless for us to be anxious about this matter. Let's wait and see. The next day, the incident of the Hall of Medical Fame killing a patient didn't stop. On the contrary, it became more and more intense. It had covered all the news media in Wuxia. Various media debated whether traditional Chinese medicine was safe, scientific, and whether it should be abolished. Originally, the traditional Chinese medicine industry had been revitalized by the influence of the blood revival elixir that cured leukemia completely. However, after this incident, it began to falter in an instant. Looking at all the negativity online in the comments, Qin Haodong frowned. It was like a rat's poop spoiling the whole pot of soup. The Hall of Medical Fame had made such a big deal, but there was no response. Just as he was worried about the future of traditional Chinese medicine, Lu Yage walked in angrily. Lin Momo asked, "What's wrong, Sister Lu? Who made you angry?" Lu Yage said, "Momo, did you go online today? There were too many things this morning, so I didn't have time." Lin Momo's face showed a touch of joy as she said, "What's wrong? Is there any new movement in the Hall of Medical Fame? Did the Wang family start to calm things down?" Lu Yage said, "The damn Wang family hasn't moved at all. Now this matter not only involves the Hall of Medical Fame, but also our Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company." As she spoke, she took out her mobile phone and pointed to several messages on it. "Look, these people say that traditional Chinese medicine is a lie, so they even say that the blood revival elixir is hyped up and has no therapeutic effect at all. Some people are clamoring to come to our Tangmen company to demonstrate and make trouble, asking us to stop production and stop deceiving people under the guise of traditional Chinese medicine. *T, are these people blind?" Lin Momo couldn't help swearing when it came to the honor of the blood revival elixir. She said angrily, "These people only know how to talk nonsense on the internet all day. Don't they see how many leukemia patients have been saved by the blood revival elixir?" Qin Haodong said, "Momo, you don't have to be angry. This whole thing seems to be a conspiracy. There must be someone behind it. It seems that they want to destroy traditional Chinese medicine." Lin Momo said nervously, "What should we do? If traditional Chinese medicine collapses, then our Tangmen company will definitely be finished." Qin Haodong frowned. This matter couldn't be solved by him alone. In the end, he had to rely on the power of the authorities. Just then, his mobile phone rang. It was Pan Gaofeng, the director of the Sanitary Bureau. "Dr. Qin, do you have time? Can you come to my office for a minute?" Qin Haodong said, "Is it because of the death caused by the Hall of Medical Fame?" Pan Gaofeng said, "Yes, that's it. Now the impact of this matter is too great. It has attracted the attention of the higher-ups. The ministry asked US to take immediate measures to reduce the negative impact of this matter on the traditional Chinese medicine industry as much as possible. Director Ho Weigua is also here." Qin Haodong said, "Well, I'll be there right away." After hanging up the phone, Lin Momo asked, "Haodong, who's looking for you?" Qin Haodong said, "It's Director Pan of the Sanitary Bureau. I'll go and have a look." Then, he left Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company in a hurry and rushed to the Municipal Sanitary Bureau. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Pan Gaofeng, the director of the Sanitary Bureau, and Ho Weigua, the director of the Sanitary Bureau, sitting together. Both of them looked very serious. Seeing Qin Haodong enter the door, Pan Gaofeng stood up and said, "Dr. Qin, you're here." Ho Weigua said, "Dr. Qin, let's get straight to the point. This matter of the Hall of Medical Fame has a great impact and has reached the point of threatening the traditional Chinese medicine industry. You have excellent medical skills and are proficient in traditional Chinese medicine, so Director Pan and I want to discuss with you to see if we can find a way to solve the current dilemma." Pan Gaofeng patted his head and said with a chagrined face, "In fact, medical accidents are very normal. However, some people are afraid of the world being in chaos and dare to say anything." He grabbed a newspaper on the table and pointed it to Qin Haodong. "Look, this is written by some bullshit expert. Medical accidents of traditional Chinese medicine occur frequently and should be replaced by Western medicine. Qin Haodong took the newspaper and glanced at it. The article was very long and listed many cases of death or disability caused by traditional Chinese medicine in recent years. At the same time, it quoted some anti-traditional Chinese medicine experts and scholars. In the end, it concluded that traditional Chinese medicine was a pseudoscience without any scientific basis. It also called on the people of Wuxia to believe in science and use science. It even suggested that the Wuxia government replace traditional Chinese medicine with more scientific Western medicine to ensure the lives and health of the people. Qin Haodong threw the newspaper on the table and said, after saying so much, "Why don't you take out the medical accident data of traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine and compare them to see which has more accidents and which has a higher mortality rate? If those who have more medical accidents can be disqualified, then there would be no Western medicine in Wuxia. Would these people dare to do this?" After a pause to ease the anger in his heart, Qin Haodong said, "In fact, everyone knows that Western medicine has more accidents than traditional Chinese medicine. The accident rate of traditional Chinese medicine is at most a fraction of that of Western medicine. The number of patients who die is even less than a fraction of that of Western medicine. But why doesn't anyone denounce Western medicine? Because Western medicine is a foreign monk. They don't dare to beat or scold it, but traditional Chinese medicine is their own child. They can scold it as much as they want. If they scold it well, they can get a lot of dollars and even a green card in M country." Ho Weigua said, "Haodong, don't say it out of anger. We all understand this. What we need to discuss now is how to solve the difficulties in front of us and how to calm down this matter. Now the media is getting more and more intense. Many websites have even opened online polls on whether to support the abolition of traditional Chinese medicine. Although people still support and love traditional Chinese medicine, the number of people who vote against it is far higher than those who vote for it. But there are still some people who vote for it. They are all native Wuxia people. Even their own people want to abolish traditional Chinese medicine. It shows how embarrassing the current situation of traditional Chinese medicine is." From the conversation, it could be seen that the two chief officials supported traditional Chinese medicine. Qin Haodong said, "Director Ho, Director Pan, what do you need me to do? As long as I can help traditional Chinese medicine, I will do my best." Pan Gaofeng said, "I've known Zhang Tianhe for decades. He's a very good doctor, and his medical skills are also very high. But now, he killed 3 people at once. I feel that it's very strange. Can you help us take a look and see if there's any problem?" Qin Haodong said, "Well, do you have the information of the deceased and the prescription prescribed by Zhang Tianhe?" He had wanted to see these things before to figure out the whole story, but the information had been taken away by the authorities after the incident. "We have all the information ready," Pan Gaofeng said as he took out a file bag. After opening it, he handed a stack of information to Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong first opened the file bag containing the information of the deceased. Only by understanding the physical condition and illness of the deceased before they died could he determine whether there was any problem with the prescription prescribed by the doctor. There was a total of 3 deceased people's information. 2 of them had suffered from different degrees of stomach disease before they died, and 1 had suffered from liver disease. However, they were not particularly serious, at least not to the extent of threatening their lives. Qin Haodong carefully looked at their previous medical records and remembered the physical condition of the 3 people, the time of onset, and the previous medication in his mind. After all this was done, he opened another file bag, which contained the 3 prescriptions written by Zhang Tianhe. These 3 prescriptions were written by Zhang Tianhe himself and stamped with his personal seal. There was no problem. At this time, Pan Gaofeng said, "Before you came, we also found some experts in traditional Chinese medicine to check these prescriptions. They all said that there is no problem." Ho Weigua said, "There is no problem with the prescriptions. This is the biggest problem. If there is no problem with the prescriptions written by traditional Chinese medicine, but the patients died, and 3 of them died at once, it means that there is a problem with traditional Chinese medicine. It further confirms those people who say that traditional Chinese medicine is not scientific. Chapter 337. Qin Haodong frowned. It was exactly as Ho Weigua had said. If they couldn't find the patient's problem or find the problem in the prescriptions, then they could only put the blame on traditional Chinese medicine. However, he believed that traditional Chinese medicine, which had been passed down for thousands of years, had completely formed its own system. It was impossible for such a huge loophole to appear. Moreover, Zhang Tianhe had never killed a patient in his life. How could 3 people suddenly die? If there was no problem, Ho Weigua would not believe it. He carefully read the 3 prescriptions written by Zhang Tianhe several times, but still couldn't find any loopholes. Dr. Qin, how is it? Pan Ligua asked eagerly. As the director of the Sanitary Bureau of Jiangnan City, he had faced great pressure in the past 2 days. He hoped to solve the current dilemma with Qin Haodong's help. Qin Haodong said, at present, these 3 prescriptions are for stomach and liver diseases. There is nothing wrong with them. Ho Weigua said with a wry smile, if that's the case, we can only punish the Hall of Medical Fame to appease the current public anger and give the families of the deceased an explanation. However, this will have a great negative impact on the traditional Chinese medicine industry. It will indirectly admit that there is a problem with the prescriptions of traditional Chinese medicine. Qin Haodong stared at the prescriptions, trying to find loopholes that he hadn't found. He said, there are many things to pay attention to when taking traditional Chinese medicine. The temperature of the fire, the time, and whether the patient has eaten mutually reinforcing or restraining food during taking the medicine need to be studied in detail. Pan Gaofeng said, I've asked people to investigate these. There is no problem. This matter was taken very seriously. After the incident, the Sanitary Bureau immediately organized an investigation team to collect evidence on the scene of the deceased's family. They even checked the residue of the medicine that had not been eaten. There was no problem. That's strange. There is obviously a problem, but we can't find out what the problem is. He held the 3 prescriptions in his hand, checked them one by one, and then put them on the table one by one. Finally, they were arranged in a row. Ho Weigua sighed and said, if it doesn't work, we can only do this. The higher-ups are urging us to give the public an explanation as soon as possible. We can't delay it any longer. Now it seems that we can only punish the Hall of Medical Fame heavily. At this moment, Qin Haodong suddenly shouted. Suddenly, he shouted, wait a moment, I think I found the problem. What's the problem? Ho Weigua and Pan Gaofeng asked simultaneously. Qin Haodong pointed to the 3 prescriptions and said, look, there is the same medicinal material in these 3 prescriptions. It's called Polygonum paniculatum. Is there a problem? Ho Weigua asked. Pan Gaofeng also had a rough understanding of traditional Chinese medicine, so he said, isn't the 7-leaved flower a Chinese herbal medicine? As far as I know, it's effective in treating stomach and liver diseases. What's wrong with it? Qin Haodong said, that's what it looks like on the surface, but we neglected a problem. Aesculus septentrifolia was once a medicine on the blacklist of imperial physicians. If used properly, it can cure diseases and save lives. If used improperly, it can harm people. Blacklist of imperial physicians? What's that? Ho Weigua didn't know much about this. Qin Haodong said, in the Ming dynasty, in order to ensure the safety of the drugs used by the royal family, many imperial physicians used prisoners to test the drugs. After 65 years, they distinguished more than 5,000 kinds of medicinal materials into 6 categories. Among them, there are 132 highly toxic medicinal materials and 911 medicinal materials with relatively mild toxicity. The other medicinal materials have also been classified. This is the famous imperial physician blacklist in the history of Wuxia. Ho Weigua asked, what does it have to do with this case? Qin Haodong said, Aesculus septentrifolia is one of more than 900 kinds of slow toxic medicinal materials, and it has extremely special properties. If it is properly matched with other medicinal materials, its toxicity can be effectively controlled and it can cure diseases and save lives. If it is matched with mutually reinforcing and counteracting medicine, the slow poison will become highly toxic and can cause death. The medicinal materials used in the prescription prescribed by Zhang Tianhe are all conventional medicines for treating stomach and liver diseases, so we didn't find the problem just now. But if Aesculus septentrifolia is included, it's completely different, because every prescription has a counteracting medicine. That is to say, this kind of medicine is already poison when it is brewed. It's not surprising that it can cause death. Speaking of this, he slapped the table and said, so this is not a medical accident at all, but murder. Murder? How is that possible? Ho Weigua and Pan Gaofeng were obviously shocked by Qin Haodong's words. Qin Haodong said, as an old Chinese medicine practitioner, Zhang Tianhe naturally knew how to use Aesculus septentrifolia. If he had prescribed a wrong prescription, it might have been a coincidence. 2 prescriptions would barely make sense. However, he prescribed 3 prescriptions in a day, which was obviously intentional. It's not that he didn't know the toxicity of Aesculus septentrifolia. On the contrary, he knew it very well and used it cleverly. He put 1 or 2 counteracting medicines in each prescription, which could accelerate the patient's death. Pan Gaofeng calmed down and said, but I still don't understand what Zhang Tianhe's intention was. He didn't know these patients. Why did he kill them? Ho Weigua said, in this way, the Hall of Medical Fame has also become a victim. The Wang family would never do such a thing. Wouldn't that be destroying their own jobs? Qin Haodong said, I don't know the specific motive, but Chinese medicine has been a little too popular recently, especially the blood revival elixir. It has cut off a lot of people's livelihood, so they will naturally make trouble for Chinese medicine. Also, Zhang Tianhe died on the same night after he wrote the 3 prescriptions. Generally speaking, old Chinese medicine practitioners should live to be at least 70 or 80 years old, but he died in his 60s. Furthermore, the time of his death is too coincidental, so there must be a conspiracy. Pan Gaofeng and Ho Weigua nodded repeatedly, but then Ho Weigua said, but these are all our guesses. Although they seem reasonable, they can't be used as substantive evidence, let alone answer the public's doubts. Qin Haodong said, indeed, guesses can't be used as evidence, but at least it gives us a direction. We can follow this direction to find evidence. Pan Gaofeng said, Dr. Qin, what do you think we should do? Qin Haodong said, immediately prepare 3 doses of medicine according to Zhang Tianhe's prescriptions, and then test their toxicity. Once it's confirmed that they are poisonous, immediately call the police and ask them to intervene in the investigation. Zhang Tianhe wasn't an idiot. He had obviously done it on purpose, so there must have been a powerful benefit behind him that made him willingly take the risk to do it. However, he hadn't expected that he would be silenced after the incident. The police can investigate his recent source of income or other movements. As long as other evidence is found, the truth can be revealed. Ho Weigua said, Dr. Qin is right. We will do this right away. As soon as they came to a conclusion, Qin Haodong's cell phone rang. It was Lin Momo. Haodong, come back quickly. A lot of people have gathered in front of our Tangmen company. They said that someone died after eating the blood revival elixir. They are shouting that they want to smash our company. Someone died after eating the blood revival elixir. That's impossible. Qin Haodong was very familiar with the drugs he had developed. The predecessor of the blood revival elixir was the blood revival elixir, which was a prescription from the cultivation world. Since someone had come to the Tangmen company to make trouble, it meant that the person behind the scenes was not satisfied with destroying the Hall of Medical Fame and wanted to take action against him. After explaining the matter to Pan Gaofeng and Ho Weiguo, Pan Gaofeng quickly said, "The blood revival elixir is now the pillar of the traditional Chinese medicine circle. You should go back and have a look. Don't let anything happen again." Qin Haodong said with a cold expression, "Now it can be seen that this conspiracy is aimed at the whole traditional Chinese medicine. The purpose is to completely destroy traditional Chinese medicine and even let traditional Chinese medicine bid farewell to the historical stage of Wuxia." Wang Weiguo said angrily, "These bastards, if we find out who did this, we must make them pay the price." At this time, hundreds of people had gathered in front of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. They were divided into 3 layers and blocked the door. The outermost layer was a group of people holding all kinds of banners. "TCM is a pseudoscience. I strongly recommend that TCM be abolished. A black-hearted pharmaceutical company that cheats people and swindles money will be punished by God. Bullsh * T doctors and swindlers. Qin Haodong will pay with blood." Behind these people, there was a crystal coffin with a middle-aged man in his 50s lying in it. Beside the coffin were dozens of people in mourning clothes. Some of them were in pain, while others were shouting slogans. They were led by a young man in his 30s and a girl in her 20s. The man was dressed in ordinary clothes and looked very ordinary. He was about 1.7 meters tall. If he hadn't been standing in the front, he wouldn't have attracted anyone's attention. The girl was very different from him. She was pretty and somewhat beautiful. In front of these people, standing in the middle layer were Ma Sanbao, the cripple man, and the others. They were all patients who had been cured by Qin Haodong. After hearing the news that someone was going to besiege the Tangmen Company, they immediately ran over to support Qin Haodong in traditional Chinese medicine. Behind Ma Sanbao and the others were the security personnel of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. They were guarding the door, ready to fight. The young man shouted at Ma Sanbao and the others, "Get out of the way. We're here to settle accounts with Qin Haodong. It has nothing to do with you." Ma Sanbao said excitedly, "Dr. Qin is our savior. If you want to make trouble for him, you have to do it over our dead bodies." A middle-aged man next to the young man shouted, "You've all been cheated by him. Qin Haodong is a swindler. He doesn't know medicine at all. The blood revival elixir is used to cheat money. You have to believe in science. If you're sick, go see Western medicine. Don't believe in pseudoscience like traditional Chinese medicine." It would have been better if he hadn't said that. His words immediately aroused the public's anger. The cripple shouted angrily, "Have you ever had leukemia? Do you know how to treat leukemia? A box of Baikong Sting costs more than 20,000 yuan, which is only enough for a month. I spent hundreds of thousands on Western medicine and sold my house, but what happened in the end? In the end, I had no money and could only wait for death. In the end, it was Dr. Qin who saved us. It was traditional Chinese medicine who saved us." The others also shouted angrily, "Yes, it was Dr. Qin who saved us. It was traditional Chinese medicine who saved our lives. You are not allowed to slander Dr. Qin and traditional Chinese medicine. You people with ulterior motives, get out of here." Seeing that his side was at a disadvantage, the young man took a step to the side and shouted to the crystal coffin behind him, "What do you know? The blood revival elixir killed my father. Qin Haodong is a swindler." As he spoke, the young man pulled the girl next to him and cried, "We lost our mother when we were young. It was our father who worked hard to raise us. I didn't expect that he would be killed by Qin Haodong, a quack, before he could live a good life." Chapter 338. After the man finished speaking, Ma Sanbao's momentum immediately weakened a little. Anyway, someone had indeed died. At this time, a reporter carrying a camera ran over and said to the man, "Sir, can you tell us the situation in detail? What happened to you?" My name is Yang Baozhong, my sister is Yang Baoyan, and my father is Yang Sanxiang. Not long after my sister was born, my mother passed away. It was my father who raised me and my sister and worked hard to send us to college. But last year, my father contracted leukemia. A few days ago, I heard that the blood revival elixir of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company could cure leukemia completely. My family of 3 came to the sales point every day to line up. This morning, it was finally our turn. I didn't expect that my father would suddenly die shortly after taking the blood revival elixir. This black-hearted pharmaceutical company killed my father. I want them to pay for it with their blood. Yang Baozhong's nose was full of tears. Speaking of this, he lay on the ground with an exaggerated expression. He hugged the crystal coffin and cried bitterly. His sad expression could not help but move people. Yang Baoyan, on the other hand, silently wiped her tears and didn't say anything. At this time, Ma Sanbao said, "That's impossible. The blood revival elixir is a magic medicine invented by Dr. Qin. It has cured tens of thousands of leukemia patients since it came on the market. We are all fine after taking it. Why can't your father take it?" Other leukemia patients also cried out, "Yes, we have all been cured. Why can't your father?" When Dr. Qin treated people a few days ago, he met a blackmailer who pretended to be dead. I think they are the same. I don't know what these people are thinking. Dr. Qin is such a good person, but they always want to go against him. They are really damn it. Hearing the discussion of the crowd, Yang Baozhong's expression changed at first, and then he shouted, "You are talking nonsense. My father is really dead. How could I be a blackmailer?" Ma Sanbao said, "No one knows whether he is really dead or not. The blackmailer was also thought to be dead at the time. Even the first aid doctor said he was dead. In the end, he was saved by Dr. Qin." "Nonsense, you are the blackmailer. Your whole family is blackmailer." While the two sides were quarreling, the door of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company opened. Lin Momo came in with Saber and others. She stopped Ma Sanbao, who was about to argue, and asked Yang Baozhong, "Who is the deceased to you?" "This is my father." Yang Baozhong glanced at Lin Momo and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm Lin Momo, the president of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. Tell me if you need anything. It was your black-hearted enterprise that killed my father. I want you to pay with your life." Yang Baozhong swung his fist at Lin Momo's face, but Saber grabbed his wrist and threw him back. "They're hitting people. They're hitting people. Tangmen Company killed people and beat people. Where is the law? Where are the reporters? Hurry up and take pictures of them. Expose these black-hearted companies." Seeing this scene, the people behind Yang Baozhong immediately clamored. "All of you, shut up." Lin Momo shouted angrily, and the aura of a female president was instantly released. She glanced at Yang Baozhong, who was getting up from the ground, and said, "Since you're here, let's investigate this matter clearly. If it was really our blood revival elixir that killed your father, our company is willing to bear the responsibility. If it is not our company's responsibility, you must bear the responsibility for attacking our company without authorization and slandering our company's reputation." "Bitch, you're still trying to scare me. I tell you, I don't want you to take responsibility, and I don't want the stinky money of your black-hearted enterprise. I'm going to tear down your company and let you pay for my father's death." Then, he picked up a brick from the ground and shouted, "Everyone, let's do it together and tear down this black-hearted enterprise. Don't let them hurt people anymore." Behind him, the people immediately echoed, "Yes, don't talk nonsense with this woman. Smash their pharmaceutical factory." These people attacked Lin Momo together. Those in mourning clothes rushed to the front, followed by some onlookers. However, these people's eyes were fierce, and it was obvious that they were not good characters. Moreover, they had been prepared. Some people had even taken out the steel pipes that they had prepared, and some had picked up bricks and stones from the ground. Ma Sanbao wanted to stop them, but most of these troublemakers were young and strong men, while Ma Sanbao's group was made up of men, women, old and young. Many of them had just recovered from a serious illness, and their physical strength was much worse than theirs. Soon, they were scattered. Saber's face turned cold. He glanced at Lin Momo and asked, "Miss, do you want us to clean up these people?" Lin Momo shook her head and said, "No, that will have a greater impact. Don't you see that there are so many media reporters around?" Saber said, "What should we do? We can't let these people go on like this. Wait a little longer. Haodong should be back soon." In Lin Momo's heart, as long as Haodong came back, the problem would be solved. At this moment, a loud shout came from outside the crowd, "Stop!" Qin Haodong not only used his internal strength, but also a little mind manipulating. The people present immediately stopped. At this time, a police car drove to the front of Tangmen Company, and 70 or 80 heavily armed special police jumped out of the car. These people quickly formed a line, holding explosion-proof shields and batons in their hands. They lined up in front of Tangmen Company, blocking the family members in mourning clothes and the troublemakers. Qin Haodong and Nalan Wuxia rushed over together. After receiving Lin Momo's notice, he immediately called Nalan Wuxia and asked her to mobilize a large number of special police. Otherwise, this scene would really get out of control. "I'm Qin Haodong, the boss of Tangmen Traditional Chinese Medicine Company. If you have anything to say, tell me. If this person really died because of taking the blood revival elixir, I'm willing to pay for it with my life. If someone deliberately makes trouble here, I will definitely make him pay the price." As Qin Haodong spoke, he walked in front of Yang Baozhong and glanced around coldly. His powerful spirit power was mixed with mind manipulating, which made the troublemakers feel a chill in their hearts. The scene became much quieter in an instant. Seeing that the momentum of the people on his side was suppressed, Yang Baozhong bravely shouted, "You're Qin Haodong. The shit blood revival elixir you developed killed my father. Today, you must give me an explanation, or I'll make you pay for it with your life." Qin Haodong asked coldly, "Are you a family member of the deceased?" "I am." "You quack, you killed my father. Today, I'm going to expose your true face and the true face of traditional Chinese medicine. I'll make your pharmaceutical factory go bankrupt. I won't let your black-hearted enterprise hurt people again." Yang Baozhong shouted at the top of his voice. Qin Haodong glared at him and said, "You're here to make trouble, aren't you? I hope you'll be responsible for what you said. Don't regret it later." A man in white mourning clothes shouted, "He's still so arrogant after killing someone. Brothers, smash his broken pharmaceutical factory and teach him a lesson." Qin Haodong's eyes swept over him sharply and he said coldly, "Who are you?" It could be seen from this guy's tone that he was definitely not a family member of the patient. There must be someone behind this matter, and this person must have come to make trouble. The man looked into Qin Haodong's eyes and his heart trembled. He braced himself and said, "I'm a family member of the patient. What's wrong? I'm here to seek justice." "You're a family member of the deceased, okay? What's your relationship with the deceased? What did you call him? Where's your family?" Qin Haodong pointed to Yang Baozhong and said, "What did you call him? Where does he live? What's his name? If you can't tell me, I'll teach you a lesson." The man's expression froze. He was just paid to do things. How could he know the deceased? He couldn't answer Qin Haodong's questions. "Well, actually, I just came out for a walk. The deceased was so pitiful and I felt sorry for them, so I came to help them." "Didn't you just say that you were a family member? Why did you change your mind so quickly?" Qin Haodong sneered and said, "You really have a strong taste. Don't your parents have any problem with you wearing mourning clothes when you go out for a walk?" As soon as he finished speaking, Ma Sanbao and the others burst into laughter. The anger that had accumulated in their hearts just now finally dissipated a little. Qin Haodong said to the man again, "I'm telling you, God is watching what you do. Don't do anything immoral, or you'll pay the price." The man's face turned red and he shouted fiercely, "Why are you so arrogant? You're talking about the dead man now." At this time, Nayland Wuxia said, "Dr. Qin will definitely give you an explanation about the patient, but all the people who just participated in the trouble will now go back to the crime squad with me to make a statement, including the deceased's family members." "Why? I just passed by here and shouted when I saw the injustice. The brother and sister were so pitiful, so I helped them. What's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with that? That's right. What's so great about the police? Can you be lawless with the support of the police? We have media reporters here who can expose you." The people who had just made trouble were not happy. They were idle people who had been paid to help, and they were all full of ruffians. "I'm telling you, there are cameras in front of the Tangmen company. What you did just now has been recorded. The police will investigate one by one. If they find out that you were paid to do things for others, you know the consequences." Qin Haodong's voice was cold. He was really angry. His current ambition was to develop traditional Chinese medicine, but it had been destroyed one after another as soon as he started. How could he not be angry? Looking at Qin Haodong's murderous look, those people felt a chill in their hearts for no reason and were a little scared. They did take other people's money, but they saw that Qin Haodong was not easy to deal with. Besides, there were so many police officers present. If they continued to make trouble, they would suffer. "Let's go. Since you don't want to watch the fun, let's go back to eat." There were already a few hooligans who wanted to retreat. Nayland Wuxia said coldly, "What do you think this place is? Do you think you can come and go as you please? If you can go at any time if you break the law, why do you need the police?" As she said that, she pointed to a few gangsters in the crowd and said, "Arrest them and take them back to the crime squad for investigation." These were the guys who had just made the most trouble. She had been a criminal police officer for so many years, so she could tell at a glance that these people were the leaders of the trouble. As long as they were arrested, it would be easy to find out the mastermind behind it. "Why? You can't arrest them by mistake. We're just watching the fun. We didn't break the law. Why do you arrest us?" Those people turned around and were about to run away, but they were pressed to the ground by the police, Saber, and others who quickly caught up with them. They were directly handcuffed. Seeing that the leader was taken away by the police, the other troublemakers immediately became quiet. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.